Hello and welcome to the Blackdog 312.
Hey.
Yes, like we didn't actually think this was ever going to happen.
Nothing's gonna stand in our way. Not tonight.
You get the touch. You get the power. Anyway, yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to 312. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And this week we are also joined by a fourth chair, Mr. Martin Thompson.
Good evening, everybody.
There you go. Lovely. So, we're here after lots of technical shenanigans, which I shall spare you the technical details, but suffice to say, fuck Skype. I think can we all say that? I think we're all...
Yeah.
Oh, definitely fuck Skype.
Yeah,
Preferably not while we're actually using it, because it gets sensitive.
Yeah, it definitely...
Don't curse it.
No, it's definitely not a happy bunny. Neither were we, let's be honest. But we're back. We've done it. We've made it work. The string is holding, and the monkey is dancing. It's working. Brilliant. So we're here this week to review what we were going to review last week, which was Transformers the movie. There you go.
Dear Lord.
There's the excitement for you. Everyone's really jazzed for this, and Martin he wanted long ago to come on and defend it, didn't you, sir? You wanted.
Yes, I did.
You wanted to speak your mind on this animation.
I did, and now I hear the revving up of the bus in the distance with Reg Varney at the helm.
Yeah, just going straight off the end of that pier. Anyway, we'll get to that soon enough. But before we do, we'll find out how everyone's fortnight now has been. And we will start, obviously, with our guest, with Martin. How was your week, sir?
Well, fairly much the same with work. But I have brought great joy to Elton as he realises he's not going to have to go first this week.
Yay!
I actually had a shared week with Mr. Barnard and Mr. McManus as we all headed up to Great Yieldham for Tracy Kelk's 50th birthday party.
Yeah.
We did.
We did. And it was a very good night. I think we all had a good time. Boz was there as well, wasn't he? And Pete Hammond and Sarah Lucky Minty.
Yep, they were all there. It was like a mini shindig.
And then on the Sunday, we all went out and had a roast dinner at the Wagon and Horses.
Nice.
So if you can imagine, we're sort of end to end at the end of the wards, about a table full of 16 people. We're giving our orders, and we're waiting. Everyone's getting hungry. And then the kitchen door opens. We think, this is it. And then the waitress comes out with a plate full of mushrooms for Darren. The only person who's ordered a starter. So you've got 16 people looking down the table at Darren eating his mushrooms.
Just eating mushrooms.
And I'm like, these are fucking tasty, these. You want to have you want to have some of these? Oh, they're lovely. Oh, man, smell them. They're gorgeous.
So how can we split them up between all of us?
Well,
And that's the thing. We didn't, because I never gave anybody any of them.
Oh, just stuff him up his arse and just roast him over an open fire. That would have helped. Oh, well.
They were beautiful.
The
Tasted
kids'
lovely.
sad faces, though, as their mushrooms touched the table, and they're like, "Oh, hang on."
Euphemism.
Oh dear.
It was sad seeing the hungry little faces as they watched me consume one by one, very slowly.
Your entire
these
body
breaded
weight in mushrooms.
Exactly. You know, I'll tell you what, it took the edge off the hunger, no problem. It really did.
I think your words were, "What the fuck are you looking at?"
Well, they're dips as well. Did you have the mayonnaise?
Yes, add the mayonnaise as well.
You didn't even share the mayonnaise.
No.
What a cunt.
What were they going to eat it with? What are they going to put like a fucking coaster in there? Oh, put some mayonnaise on the coaster. It might make it bearable.
Well, I'd stick my finger right in it. A good job I wasn't there. I would have stuck my fucking elbow in it.
You know what? I didn't finish them anyway and had to watch as they chucked them all in the bin. It was great.
As you fed them to the nearby local dog.
Yep.
Anybody want these? Nah, I'll pass them to the dog. The dog looks hungry. What an utter...
What?
I wasn't even there and I feel outraged.
This from the man who ate a slice of pizza in front of a homeless person once.
Well, yes, followed by
That. What was it? Was that the noise you made as you bit into it? I think it was.
Actually, I went as I turned round to face him, pulling stringy hot cheese out of my face. That was a mistake, and I moved away with embarrassment. I didn't sit at the end of a table going, children, if only you could taste these breaded mushrooms that I'm eating right now. God, dear, I didn't sit the tramp down in front of me in Pizza Hut and fucking eat in front of him. I just took a massive, juicy, cheesy bite right in front of his eyes, about a foot from his face.
Yep.
I went, Anyway, Martin, carry on.
Right.
None of us are coming out of this well.
Also, a couple of weeks ago, I went to see Logan.
Uh-huh.
Thereby carry on the tradition of the podcast for the last few weeks where somebody says, I've seen Logan.
Yep.
Very enjoyable film. It's very good. Patrick Stewart, I thought he was very good in it as well. And Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
Is last one. It wasn't really kind of on my radar, but I went along with a friend and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it might be a bit too bleak for my kind of taste, but no, I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
So Laura as well. The was it X-23?
Oh yes, yeah.
Really good young actress, and it's the sort of person you kind of she just walks into a room and you think, fucking hell, it's all going to kick off now, isn't it? It's like that kind of coiled spring.
Yeah. That's just called having children. You just walk into a room and oh fuck, what's going to happen now?
She threw more shade than a parasol javelin competition.
Yep.
So yeah.
I have to admit, the cinema was a bit dusty there by the end.
Was it? Oh, cool.
It was. I know it. I didn't think it would be, but yeah, just right at the end.
Yeah, fair enough. What
else have I been doing? Also, I finished off Luke Cage. That was really good.
Cool.
And I've started watching Twin Peaks as well. So I've been catching up with Dave Probert's Twice as Bright, Half as Long podcast. This is what they were doing throughout the whole of 2016. They were doing Twin Peaks, so I've just started watching that this week. It's something I've never watched before.
That interestingly, I don't think I have either. I've watched like the first 2 episodes, and then I kind of lost the plot a bit, and then when I kind of went back, there was a lady with a log, and then there was a bloke. There was a bloke who you could only see in a mirror, and I was like, okay, I've clearly got to see this again properly.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it as well because isn't the new series coming out soon?
Yes, yeah. It was put back, which is why they're doing it. Which is why they did it last year, Dave and Ian, because they only review shows which lasted for 1 or 2 seasons. And if when the new season's shown, it's suddenly going to be out of their remit, so they wanted to get it in quick.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's get round in a quick before the doors close kind of moment. No, nice, cool. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, one more thing. For a book, as I was recently reading Space Helmet for a Cow, which is a wonderful irreverent history of the production of Doctor Who, which I thoroughly enjoyed on the commute recently.
Space Helmet for a Cow.
Yeah, it's a line from William Hartnell story, The Time Meddler. They're in Viking times and they come across a Viking helmet. I can't remember the exact line, but it's Hartnell just goes back, what do you think that is? A space helmet for a cow?
Fair enough. Yeah, that's cool. Nice. So it just covers what, the production history, you say?
Yeah, of the classic series, and there's sort of little episode reviews. So there is a second volume actually out which covers the newer series, but it's it was very enjoyable.
Cool, excellent. Well, that sounds fairly comprehensive week/fortnight. So we'll move on to you now, Elton. How about you, sir?
Okay, well, continuing on from my marathon of starting The Office, I'm now up to season 5 of The Office.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm addicted. I cannot get enough of this stuff in my eyeballs.
I'm right there with you, Elton. I thoroughly love The American Office.
Yeah.
I'm up to season. I think I've just seen season 7 at the moment. I keep meaning to do the last 2.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just it fucking tickles me. It really does.
Yeah.
And not a lot of stuff really does nowadays. So I think I'm in the right mood, right frame of mind, right time for me to watch this as well. So I'm thoroughly recommend it at the moment. I just like the way that the actual episodes are laid out as well, because you have like a little skit and then the main story, and then it ends with a skit as well, and it just works perfectly for me. So
Nice.
Actually, can I tell you my favourite one of those, Elton? It's I think it's season 3. Jim's moved on to the new place.
yeah,
But he's taken a lot of Dunder Mifflin paper with him. So every morning he sends Dwight a message, supposedly from his future self.
yes.
Dear past Dwight, the coffee's been poisoned. For instructions later.
Okay.
There's another one where he's doing the Schrodinger's dog thing, where he's turning off his computer and then feeding Dwight a peanut.
Yes.
And then at one point, he just doesn't offer him a peanut, and his hand just goes out automatically when the sound of the computer turning off goes on. It's just brilliant.
Why do I feel like Michael Caine and Mike Myers is going on here? And they're talking Cockney in Austin Powers 3. Shat on a turtle.
But okay, enough of that. I also had fun trying to get a Mother's Day present. Wasn't this weekend? It was last weekend, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
I got everything. I was remarkably organised at some point. I had lots of little presents and cards. I'd already sent off my mum's card. I'd already purchased flowers to be delivered on the Saturday as well. So that was all sorted. But there was just one thing I needed to get, and that was that fucking Ed Sheeran CD. Now, I'm not his greatest fan, but I know Amanda likes it, so I thought I'll disappear and try and find it.
Oh, I've just done the entire album.
There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, trust me, I've got that for the next 2 years as well.
Yeah, wait until she sticks it in the car and everywhere you go.
Fuck that noise.
And I'm going down in 100 degrees.
Anyway, while you're doing that, I took a drive up to, because I live out in the sticks, as some of you may have realised, and there's a massive Tesco's a couple of miles away. So I drove up there to see if he was on the shelves. No,
A little Ed Sheeran on the shelf. Hello,
hello. Are you come to purchase me?
I'm up on the shelf. I'm a little Ed Sheeran. Hello.
If you buy me, you get chocolates free.
I swear, no gingers have been harmed in placing me on this shelf.
He's like Big Cook, Little Cook.
Yeah, that's it. Let's have a look. Let's have a look in Ed Sheeran's book.
Oh dear. Anyway, it wasn't in Tesco's, so I took a drive over to Sainsbury's, and it wasn't in Sainsbury's either. So at this point, I'm further away from all the other shops apart from Cambridge. So I thought I'd take a drive up to Cambridge, and it's about a half-hour drive from where I am situated at that point. I thought, okay, there's a massive HMV in Cambridge. I know exactly where it is. I know exactly where to park. I can get in, get out. Thank you very much. Goodbye. So I take a nice drive up there, all the way through the roadworks, which I didn't know were there. So it's 45 minutes now, taking me to get out. Parked in the car park. I luckily got a space, which was excellent. Ran round the corner to the place where HMV should be, and
Right.
it's turned into a Wilco.
Nice.
Oh, fuck. Now, Cambridge isn't a very, how should we say, high street friendly area.
Yeah. Keep going.
And it was at this point my heart sank.
Don't worry, Bilbo. You'll make it.
And so I had to return
Yeah.
empty-handed.
Did you not look in the Wilco? Don't they do some CDs?
Do they?
Yeah, they're all in the bargain bin at $2.99.
I didn't know they did.
There's 40 copies sitting there. Nobody wants.
It's 40 little Ed Sheeran's going, hello!
Oh, man.
It's like that, you know, that squeezy chicken that guy squeezed. Lots of chickens going off at once.
Yeah.
Lots of Ed Sheeran's just going, hello!
Hello!
The
Hello, I'm
manager's
Ed
sitting there
Sheeran.
going, I don't understand it. People just don't come in and buy our music. What are we doing wrong?
We had an entire musical section set up, and we got an entire shelf dedicated to Ed Sheeran.
They're
Hello!
not hip to the Wilco sound.
So yeah, I had to return from my quest, from my journey.
Oh, are you still going on this journey? Sorry, before we go any further.
No, that's it. I'm just returning.
Sure, because I've still got this.
No, yeah, okay.
Did it not take you a little bit of time to drive back?
It took. I had lots of roadworks to battle for.
Really?
Yeah, I had to explain to the children,
Oh
their
no!
sobbing faces, that I failed in my quest,
Oh no!
and that the CD would not be turning up.
Oh dear! If only I'd known you were going to go on a massive epic journey like that, I would have queued that song up well early. Anyway, so you utterly failed, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and I can't stand that cunt anyway, so he can fuck off and die in a fire, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, it makes the missus happy, so yes.
Yeah. Well, okay, fair enough.
I do.
The best place to find the lovers of the bar
Fuck
is
off,
where
honestly,
I go.
man. Honestly, I will hang up right now.
I will turn this car around. I will.
Honestly, I thought that was Flight of the Conchords you just started
Oh
playing.
right, no, hold on.
He's starting to sound like Paul Simon as well.
Girl, you know I want your love. Your love,
Yeah, he's the mum's favourite.
Yeah.
follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say
I can't do that too long, otherwise we'll get sued.
I'd sue him back.
Mm.
Fucker.
Anyway, cool. Yeah, there you go. So,
And I went
yeah.
to a party as well with Darren and Martin.
And then we're teased by a man hoarding breaded mushrooms.
Oh, that's another thing I had to.
Yeah, you were
mention
sat
as
right
well.
next to him as well, weren't you, Elton?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, the bastard. But there was a point.
Let the peasants have my fucking bread rolls. What more do you want?
It was after the party as well. I'm sure Amanda wouldn't mind me mentioning this.
Hold on, is this going to be sexy
Let
time
me just-
confessions?
Let me just check. Amanda, can I mention the airbed?
Whoa, hold on.
Hang on.
Hang on.
I know this one.
Not too many people. It's just Darren and Lee and Martin and Jim. No one else is
Couple of
listening.
100 listeners.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not mention this.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah, really?
Chicken brown cow.
Let's get we're going to get the airbed on. Come on.
Okay, well, what happened is I had Pete Hammond crashing over my house.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
And we walked back after a certain amount of time. Amanda had already taken the kids back to the house. And
Go on, keep going.
Amanda, being a nice person, decided to set up his bed for him in the front room. Okay, she's coming to the room to make sure I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah.
She set up the bed, the big air bed that we got. And it's a double airbed that sits, maybe a foot off the ground as well. So it's one of these big, more than a foot. It's a big airbed.
Yep.
And me and Pete walked in through the front door.
Yeah.
And I walked into the front room where the bed was situated for him.
Was there a little mint on the pillow?
No, there wasn't a mint on the pillow. But
Sticky after 8.
there was an Amanda who had made the bed, it looked lovely, and then she'd done her Goldilocks impression of, that looks just right, and fallen asleep on it.
Right. She just fell asleep on it.
Just fell asleep on the bed that she'd just made for Pete. She was making sure it was comfortable.
Yep. Can she hear what's playing in the music in the background here?
No, she can't hear the sexy music in the background.
I mean, I don't want to bring, I don't want to cast aspersions upon your lovely partner there, but,
I've got a better tune for this.
Go on.
Pete Hammond's involved.
Go on.
There you go. I'll send it through the messenger.
You've sent it through the messenger? Oh, wow, This is all... Hold on, here we go.
It's got a bit more of a porn angle, this one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But, okay, this music would do, because I was balancing on a knife edge, because it's at that point where you walk in and go, oh, she's asleep. Do I wake her, or do I not wake her?
You couldn't have a knife edge near an airbed out and it just wouldn't work.
And so I had to juggle them two dilemmas. And so I did wake her, and the frosty look I got as well.
Because you weren't Pete Hammond.
Yeah, possibly, yes. A real man.
Yeah.
Instead, it was just me.
It was just you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is Blackdog After Dark. Brown chicken, brown cow. Yeah.
Soundtrack album available in all good stores and Milkos.
Hanging off of every Ed Sheeran bauble section. Yeah. Right, okay, well, there you go.
There you go, there's my fortnight.
That's your fortnight, yeah. Well. Next time we should just have Amanda up here, I think. Anyway, so did just last question, did Amanda actually get, the Ed Sheeran thing in the end?
Yeah, I purchased it the day after, and it has been on repeat ever since.
Well, there you go. Well, that's just sad. And if you have suffered like Elton has, do send in £2. We'll save someone a whole bunch of earplugs and save them from an Ed Sheeran.
Right. Please send money. Please send money.
Write to your
or
congressman.
Napalm Death albums.
Yeah. Write to your congressman now and ask them about Ed Sheeran infestation. Anyway, right, okay, well, moving on then. Jim.
Yes.
Over to you, sir.
It's been a very long fortnight, it seems, thanks to visits from the Insomnia Fairy, which is always fun.
Yep.
And a stinking head cold. It's kind of one of those colds where it's not actually bad enough so you have to go to bed.
Yeah.
But you just have that feeling you're starting with a headache. You've got achy sinusitis sort of pains. And it's just oh dear.
Yeah.
So most of last week passed in something of a sleep-deprived and codeine-induced blur, which is pretty bad. I had 3 shows to finish.
Oh, God.
But somehow I managed. As I said, I was going to York the weekend, as Teresa was going to be moving back down here. So we had planned for a weekend away. But everything got finished and got done. I did find in my deprived state I had done some sleep Amazoning. And as you do. And found I'd picked up a pretty much near mint copy of the 1978 Dungeons and Dragons basic set.
Oh, nice.
Which I got for less the price of one of the current rule books. And considering I looked online, I thought, was this a stupid move? And thought, well, the adventure module you get in it goes for £15 in a state that I can only describe as weathered. and the actual rule book, which is sold separately, often goes for 60 and 70 in a condition I would call crease to buggery.
Nice.
So I've got this nice box, and the books look kind of just like out of the factory fresh for £25. I was a happy bunny.
Nice. So is this an ongoing problem now where you're sleep Amazoning?
Well, it's kind of it's 4 a.m. I can't sleep. I know I've got work due tomorrow, and I'm going to suffer terribly. I'm going to treat myself and buy myself something. And things turn up in the post after I've forgotten. So.
I'm glad there's a term for this now, because a colleague of mine had very much the same thing the other day. So you're sleep Amazoning then.
It's a terrible problem. Let's start disconnecting the router at night.
Not for Amazon.
No, not for Amazon. No. Or any other vendors I find online with a good bargain.
Nice.
But yeah, so that was all nice and fun. It was a hard week, but it was worth it. It was a nice weekend away. What else? We were speaking off air about wrestling, and that reminded me. I actually found something I've been looking for ages. It was a Channel 4 documentary that aired in the early 2000s.
Right.
And in many ways, it was troubling, disturbing, and sad and tragic. So I found it hilarious. And I've always wanted to see it again. And so I looked for it because you say, surely it wasn't turned up on YouTube or Daily Motion by now. Nope. Mm-hmm. Then the other week, out of the blue, there it is. Mm-hmm. It was a documentary called Lock Up Your Sons.
Right.
And it was about the practice of backyard wrestling.
Euphemism.
No, it was, it is a euphemism, but not for what you think.
Okay.
And it had all these, why can I describe as a variety of troubled teenage lads from around the provincial corners of the UK who indulge in what they call backyard wrestling, where they stage their own wrestling matches and they smack each other over the head with barbed wire, road signs, break neon light bulbs over each other. You know, the big fluorescent tubes?
Yeah.
Whack each other with them, smash each other's heads into bowls full of drawing pins.
Nice.
and video it. I mean, say it was early 2000s, so it was kind of before I think YouTube was going to allowing this stuff, but they're all just uploading it onto their own sites and their own little forums. And it's horrendous, but at the same time, hilarious.
Nice.
We've got all the weapons here. Isn't that a baseball bat? Yeah, we've got nails and screws through it as well. It's a bit like.
Nice.
So it's one of those kind of, glad to see that again. That was really fun.
Lovely.
The magic of the internet. It giveth and taketh away.
That's a really different episode of Biker Grove.
Yeah, Ant and Dec's Saturday night takeaway went really off the rails, didn't it?
Very badly.
Nice.
It's one of those they need to do a follow-up to find out where these people are, if they're still alive or in hospital. Or
I think it would just be a walk around a graveyard follow-up film to this one.
Or maybe they're working in Wilko's selling Ed Sheeran.
Well, possibly. One of them might have been Ed Sheeran. There was a stocky ginger kid.
Hello.
Hello. You never know.
Yeah.
But yes, I think I'll leave my fortnight there. I think
that's fine. I've got enough there to put in the show notes that you engaged in some backyard wrestling.
That'll do.
That'll do. Notes complete. So over to the Mushroom King.
Yes. Me, I eat what I kill. Yeah, my week. Okay. Let's see. Went to see Logan for a second time. And I think I've seen it enough now for a while.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Second show was good, but I don't think I want to see it again anytime soon.
And for those of you marking your bingo cards, that's the second mention of Logan in this episode. Second mention.
We got two. You're getting double teamed.
I'm not playing sexual heating again. I got away with it once.
Yep. Indeed.
So it's not likely to beat the Rogue One record then?
No.
Oh, wait, no, hold on. I was about to mention Rogue One, actually.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, go on.
Because a couple of weeks ago, I went to a special Q&A showing of Rogue One. And they had the director present answering questions.
Oh, Gareth Evans.
Yeah, Gareth Evans. He seems like a thoroughly likeable chap. But the thing is, they actually had the Q&A before the film was shown. and all these people who'd never seen the film showed up to watch it. So
Right.
there's me with questions about the actual film itself, and I couldn't ask any of them because there was a bunch of people in the audience who'd never actually seen it.
Well, that's their fucking lookout, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have to be kept in spoiler if you're. I mean, I admire your restraint, but frankly, if it's a special screening with the director with a Q&A, you can't go in there expecting people not to talk about the film.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him about a certain scene featuring a certain very tall, dark gentleman who goes a bit kind of, gets a bit miffed. At one point.
He has
issues, shall we say, with certain people.
Yeah, he decides to deal with his anger management in an unproductive way.
Yeah, it's quite spectacular. But I couldn't ask him about anything about that at all.
Well, ask me. What were you going to ask him?
I can't ask you that because there might be people who've never seen, who've not watched it yet.
Oh, bollocks, I don't care. How did you get Lando Calrissian on them stilts?
I'm going to ask him it just like you asked him it. Just the way Fraser. How'd you get that Lando Calrissian on them stilts? for AT-AT scene.
Yeah, there you go.
What were all that about then?
Sorry about the spoilers, those of you who haven't seen Rogue One, but Lando Calrissian is a stilt walker in the circus.
And that bit with Yoda and ice cream van. What the fuck was that all about? I've no idea what the context was. We just go from people running down a beach, and all of a sudden it's Yoda selling ice creams on a street. From an ice cream van? I've no idea what was going on.
What is Han Solo doing on a tightrope juggling? What is that about? Yeah, maybe that's what you should have done. You should have fucked about with people who'd never seen the film before. So, Gareth, you know those moments when the whole bunch of Ewoks come out and they start tap dancing? Why? Why did you do that? Just why?
Did you get the influence for that from the expanded universe that once was? Or was this you just talking on a massive joint while writing the film?
Yeah. What inspired you to include Buzz Lightyear in the final configuration? Why didn't you consider using Action Man? Don't ask me why I said Action Man. I just got no reason. Anyway, carry on.
Yes. So, that was nice. I actually got to... there was a guy outside when we were all lining up to go in. There was a guy, I think it was from Lucasfilms. They'd written a special VR app for... It only like about 30 seconds long. It was a Rogue One experience. Basically, they had to... I only had to go of it because there was a X-Wing pilot helmet that the actual VR helmet was shaped like. But,
does an X-Wing pilot's helmet look different to you?
Sorry?
Does an X-Wing pilot's helmet look different to you?
What do you mean?
Don't worry. I was going to make a helmet joke. Don't worry. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm being childish. Ignore
Purple
me.
leader, come in. Purple leader.
Thank you, Jim. I just place it there. You can take it away and actually make something of it. I just give you the raw clay. You go make the comedy gold.
It will lay the foundations. You just build that city. There you go.
Carry on.
But yeah, so that was good. That was good. And of course, speeding along to this weekend, we had the party, of course, Tracy Kelk's party, which has been mentioned already before. And apart from being a good party, it introduced me to something that I'd never actually seen, a clip of a film called Shin Godzilla. Okay, now, has anybody actually seen Shin Godzilla?
I've seen enough making-ofs.
Right, so
I know what it's all about and what happens in it.
You do, right? Because
Pete Hammond put the clip up on the Facebook group, didn't he?
He
did. Yes.
Okay, I've got to say, I know people have a go at the last American Godzilla that came out. Okay, but how best to describe this thing. Okay, it's a clip, right? Apparently, in this film, Godzilla evolves. In fact, let me just. In fact, I have an image here from the movie. I'm just about to put on Messenger so you can all see this. I'll put this up probably on the Facebook group later on.
Again, I think it might already be on the Facebook group, but yeah, go for it.
Yeah, there we go. Take a look at that.
That's the one.
It's a Godzilla that looks fucking surprised all the time. It's just like, fuck, where am I?
Yeah, I won the lottery?
I did?
I did?
Now, this thing apparently evolves as it goes along. Okay, so it starts off. It looks like, as it's going down the street, it looks like it's propelling itself along on a pair of testicles. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
All the while looking surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see...
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
What?
not
My bollocks! Look, they're moving!
It's not your usual method of motivation, is it? Motoring along on your testicles, is it? Really? Let's be honest. I mean, I have to say, it does look like basically he looks like he's sat. He looks like he's actually sat on a pineapple.
Yeah, I think so.
He's got that kind of.
I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I've got no Google Maps or nothing.
Yeah. Excuse me. I'm looking for the shops.
I just want to know where I'm going.
Did he advertise Chewits in the 80s?
More chewier than a 30-story block of flats.
I think so. So I think we should watch this.
I think you're right, because I like I say, I have seen every evolution of this Godzilla in this particular film. So
You
I
ain't
know
seen this one. I'll tell you
I
that
have.
now.
I have seen it move as well. I've seen the whole sequence, the attack sequence, because there's been Toho have been releasing like making of videos for the last like 6 months of this thing, and right up to how it ends up, and then what happens after that. I mean,
Where it fires laser beams out of its arse. That bit, you mean?
No, worse than that.
Worse than that?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, save it.
Let's save it.
Yep. I'm saying nothing.
So,
yeah.
Yes, that's my nomination for a future film.
I have to say, as soon as you see this, you suddenly think, well, actually, maybe I was a little harsh on Godzilla. Maybe I need to go back and have a little reevaluation.
I'm all for practical effects, but this is not that practical.
He does look like he's been pulled along on a skateboard at one point. I know that for a fact. Yeah.
Indeed.
Anything else?
Yeah, there you go. That's my fucking couple of weeks, or what I can remember of it anyway.
My one. I'll just keep mine quick. Really. My shit stuff that was going on with stuff that I don't want to talk about. That was still shit until very recently, so that's good. It was right up until Saturday, in fact. And just to add on top of that, I've 5 years I've been waiting, got a new Mass Effect game, and it's bobbins. That's basically the long and the short of it, which has been pretty much like, how can I put it? It's a bit like waiting for your favourite band to turn up. Unfortunately, the age of years has turned them from a hot rocking 20-something band all full of piss and vinegar and into basically a folk music band.
So it's a bit like me waiting to see the Foo Fighters, and all of a sudden Dave Grohl comes out with a chair with a pair of spoons and goes, right, any request?
Yeah, and a washboard, and goes, and
Ladies
now,
and gentlemen, welcome stage guest vocalist Joe Pasquale.
yeah, pretty much that. You can recognise that they're wearing the same T-shirts, but frankly, there's a stale smell of piss about everything.
Well, in that case, I have to thank you anyway, because you saved me 45 quid. Because I won't be buying that game, at least not yet. Anyway, I'm going to wait at least a year for all these fucking magical patches that are supposed to come out and make it better.
There's one point which is a meme that's going around now anyway, but there's one character whose facial animation is so static, it looks like someone has literally got a mannequin on a stick and literally put a head and literally just bobbing it up and down. And the character goes, "I'm really cross. I'm sorry. My face is tired."
Is this motion capture of Richard Gere?
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know what? It comes to something when top of the line AAA video gaming makes you look at the Transformers movie and go, "Wow." And that's what I did. I went from that to the Transformers movie, and I was like, Jesus Christ. And yeah, so I was a bit pissed off with that. I did see Kong Skull Island, which I enjoyed for, if you want to see Big Monkey punch lots of CGI crocodiles, then this is the film for you, for sure. And the other thing I saw was, I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a week off. I could watch Life. I could watch, any film that's in the cinema. I got a week off because Mass Effect clearly wasn't doing it for me. And I was sort of like, and things just kind of got away from me. And eventually what happened was I was sitting there and I went, right, kids, let's go watch a film. And we went and watched Boss Baby. Which I have to say is one of the worst animated features I've ever had the mispleasure of sitting through in a very long time. And I've watched the Angry Birds movie.
Yeah, you were Mr. Popper's Penguins as well.
Mr. Popper's Penguins. Mr. Popper's Penguins is a work of comedy genius compared to Boss Baby. Because Boss Baby has two stages. One, it turns around and says, this kid is making stuff up in his head all the time. Everything he sees is complete imagination. Blah, 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 blah. Because there's this grown-up kid. And then over here, it goes this other thing, which is, hey, kids, you know that Alec Baldwin from Glengarry Glen Ross? Here he is doing Glengarry Glen Ross as a 3-year-old. Or a new... It's like... Yeah, because Glengarry Glen Ross always be closing style monologues works so well for the 5-year-old target audience. And it's like, I just sat there thinking, who are they aiming this at? Because there was a couple of Raiders of the Lost Ark gags. One was quite blatant with the kind of like, switching things over and doing the sort of weighing things up thing. But then there was one where they actually took the piss out of the bit with Belloc nicking the statue off of Indy and going, once again, Dr. Jones, there is nothing you can possess that I cannot take away, and you thought I had given up. And then sending people after Jones by going and doing that sort of cutting across the neck sign. Yeah. That whole scene gets recreated with a bunch of babies chasing after a 10-year-old boy.
Right.
And yeah, it's utterly unfunny, and basically doubles down on being unfunny by aiming for gags that even the parents have to be cinephiles to just get, let alone laugh at. It's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. And, and just when you think, oh, okay, fine, it's going to be one of those kind of movies, it's going to be like Rango, where you sit there watching it going, I'm sure somewhere in there's a good film, but, like, no one's made it. And then just in the middle of it, they'll have a sequence where someone powders Boss Baby's bum and he farts and you see a little cloud of talcum powder go up. And it's like, oh, a fart gag. Oh, brill. Bingo. Well done. Fantastic. How long we got left? And literally, here we go. Listen to this. That is a full recreation of an entire cinema full of kids laughing at Boss Baby.
Wow.
It was the most horrible, boring, tedious, unfunny, bland, cruddy experience I've watched in a long time.
Who's it made by?
DreamWorks.
Oh.
Which is, because DreamWorks have got Spielberg on their side, so they have to kind of do at least one Spielberg gag in every bloody film. And, yeah, it was just like, It really just no. And then they had a couple of Trump gags which didn't really work either. And it's like, oh, come on.
Because the kids love a Trump joke, don't they?
Oh, of course they do. Yeah, no one likes political satire more than your average sort of like 5 to 10-year-old. I mean, fucking hell, that's the target market. That's the bleeding edge. That is. You see them all sitting there at sort of birthday parties. Right alongside the clown. There's your sort of like your satirist. Sort of doing John Oliver skits while making balloon animals.
And a kid on his own. Oh, yeah, he's a Hillary supporter.
Yeah, there he is.
You know what? I think it's the same children that really enjoyed the political intrigue in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
The taxation rules and,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, where will
Thrilling.
where will we be if someone rules against Chancellor Valorum? I mean, it's fucking rubbish. It really is fucking rubbish. I mean, normally, even in like the worst films, like I say, like Angry Birds, you can find like one or two gags that you can at least laugh at, like God Bird or whatever he was called, the mighty eagle taking a piss in the river that they're swimming in. But this has just got nothing. I literally sat there thinking, run out of minstrels. Shall I go get some more? And there's Katie going, I'll get them. And there's Lisa going, I'll get them. And I'm like, no, you're too young. You're too young to go. You can't go down there with my card to get the sweets. And it's like, but I'm too old to leave these two behind. We're stuck here. And then
who suggested that you go and see this film?
Lisa.
Then Lisa should have been the one staying behind.
Well, that's the thing. And so we came out. We went into the foyer. Now, bearing in mind, Lisa's 9.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, she's 9. We walked out into the foyer. And I looked at, and normally with these kind of films, the kids all like very pleased to be at the cinema. So you go to them, you go, oh, what did you think? And they said, oh, I like it, that sort of thing. But went there, we stood in the foyer, and Lisa put her hands on her shoulders, hands on her hips. She looked at me, and she squinted, and she went, that was a bit shit. And I thought, that's it, job's done, nothing left need be said. Put that on the poster. Thank you, and good night. So, yeah. I'm also very proud of that my teachings are clearly working. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, if you've got kids and you want to give them a cinematic upbringing, send them my way. I'll have them calling Ridley Scott a cunt before they hit 10. That's my guarantee to you. Anyway, right. So that was my week, really. Like I say, I don't really want to talk about the other bits, but it's just shit. And work's just right. So, shall we get on with this week's movie, which is a trip to 1980s nostalgia land, otherwise known as Transformers the Movie.
There's a favorite film from my childhood. Loved it so much I watched it night and day. I never got tired of seeing the movie, but that was years ago. Well, I still feel the same. Blu-ray keeps on turning. Will my passion keep on burning? Rosie, Rosie, rose-tinted spectacles.
Shut up on the Specsavers, you twat. Right, okay, so here we go. Ladies and gentlemen of the children of the 80s, please come with us and see if we can chisel those thick, monstrous rose-tinted specs that appear to be on a lot of people's heads for this film. This film is Transformers the Movie. It's a 1986 American animated science fiction action adventure film based on the animated TV series of the same name. It was released in North America on August the 8th, 1986, making it my birthday film. Yay!
Hey!
I would have been so happy. The film was produced and directed by Nelson Shin, who also produced the original Transformers TV series, and featured the voices of Eric Idle, Judd Nelson, Leonard Nimoy, or Leonard Nimoy, the actor, Casey Kasem, Robert Stack, oh dear, I am here to be the ineffectual leader, Lionel Stanton, John Machita, Peter Cullen, Frank Welker. And it also marked the final rose for both Orson Welles, who died the year before its release, and Scatman Carruthers, who died months after its release. Scatman Carruthers, Hong Kong Phooey. This film killed Hong Kong Phooey. The bastards! You can't do that. Wow. The story takes place in the future year of 2005. 20 years after the events of the TV series, the second season, and serves to bridge into a third season. After the spoilers, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, after the death of Optimus Prime during a devastating assault on Autobot City. Hold on, just one moment. And he's dead. After the death, Autobots are pursued by Galvatron, a regenerated form of Megatron, servant of Unicron, a planet-devouring transformer who sets out to consume Cybertron. Set to the soundtrack of synth-based incidental music and hard-driving metal music. Really?
Hey?
Yeah, apparently.
Driving metal.
No.
Music to sound like it had been made from people hitting bits of metal.
I think
Is that what they mean?
I think the words metal music is kind of like when your mum says, "You listening to that heavy metal rock music?" when you're listening to Bon Jovi.
Maybe they meant music by Metal Mickey. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, boogie, 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 boogie. Yeah. Let's do the boogie. Anyway, the film is decidedly darker tone than the TV series. They used blues instead of pinks. With detailed visuals by Toei Animation's typical anime film stylings. And the Decepticon villains are more menacing, killing without hesitation.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Don't. Powder dry.
Keep the pin in.
Yeah, don't let go of the handle. Right. The film features several grand battles in which a handful of major characters meet their end. The film's tagline is "Beyond good, beyond evil, beyond wildest imagination."
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. The film's budget was $6 million, which was 6 times greater than the budget used to create 90 minutes of actually regular cartoon series. But what did it make at the cinema? At the box office. So, Darren, what do you think it made?
About 50 quid.
Okay. Martin?
10 million.
Oh, okay. Elton?
I think I know this one.
Yeah, you guys probably do, because you did it on Witless, didn't you?
Yeah.
Go on, then.
5 mil.
Okay. Jim?
I was going to go for 5 mil as well.
Oh, yeah, well, you're quite close. It's 5.8 million. So, yeah, just below its budget it made.
I was closer than Jim.
First in, last out, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. In your face, Moon.
What far behind was I?
Do you know how many Transformers appear in this film?
Go on.
83.
83?
Do you know how long the film is? 84 minutes. Couldn't they have put one bastard more in?
Well, to be quite honest, the last minute is just fading out. What's his name singing? You got the touch.
I thought the last minute is where they just had tools down. Fuck this bollock. Let's go home. Leave that floating head in space. Fuck it.
You just see the film come off its spool.
That's it. The meter's stopped. I ain't putting another 50p.
So the budget was $6 million, 6 times greater than the budget used to create 90 minutes of the regular cartoon TV series. The Shin's team was almost 100 personnel that normally took 3 months to make one episode of the series. So despite the extra budget, faced considerable time constraints in making the film, whilst also continuing production on the TV series at the same time. According to Shin, the decisions on which characters to include or kill off were made by Hasbro. Quotes, "They created a story using characters that could be best merchandised from the film. Only with that consideration could I have the freedom to change the storyline." Shin also came up with the concept of Transformers changing colour when they died. "When Optimus Prime died, I changed his colour from red and blue to grey to show that his spirit had gone from his body."
Do fuck off.
Yeah.
Hold on. So Shin Godzilla, and they've got some bloke called Shin doing the Transformers.
It's all
film.
connected, Dal. See, I knew you were going to
See
say
the
that.
pattern.
I've connected.
And the Blackdog have a shindig.
There you go. Wheels within wheels. Wheels within wheels. It's like fucking podcastception. Fucking yes. And just to really double up, Inception's on film 4.
Oh,
Are you
Mabel.
watching it right now?
Yes. No, I'm not. I have no idea what's on film 4 right now. Anyway, Transformers the movie was the final film in which Orson Welles contributed. Welles was in declining health during the production. Shortly before he died, he told his biographer Barbara Leeming, "You know what I did this morning? I played the voice of a toy." He elaborated, and I'll go to your quote there. "The Japanese have funded a full-length animated cartoon about the doings of these toys, in which all bad outer space stuff. I play a planet. I menace somebody, called something or other. Then I'm destroyed. My plan to destroy whoever it is thwarted, and I tear myself apart on the screen." That was my best Orson Welles. And I can't remember what he really sounds like. Anyway, the voice... According to director Nelson Shin, Welles had been pleased to accept the role after reading the script and expressed admiration for animated films. Sounds like it. The voice work for the Transformers movie was the last film project he worked on, and his last voice session was on October the 5th, 1985. 5 days later, Welles died of a heart attack. So, there you go. The reception. Transformers the movie received mixed results, currently sitting on 55% positive on Rotten Tomatoes, with 11 of only 20 counted reviews giving it a rotten rating. The film has largely garnered an average rating of 5 out of 10. Karen James of the New York Times described the film by stating, "While all this action may captivate young children, the animation is not spectacular enough to dazzle adults, and the Transformers have few truly human elements to lure parents along, even when their voices are supplied by well-known actors." The film developed a more positive legacy in recent years, particularly amongst older fans of the franchise, who prefer it to the modern live-action Transformers movie due to the characters' voice cast, action and soundtrack. Though a modest film compared to Michael Bay's 2007 Transformers, the original Transformers is a better film, wrote John Swansburg of Slate. "There's nothing even approaching the original's narrative depth. Good guys beat bad guys, and no one we care about is harmed in the process. The movie has succeeded in making us care about the Transformers movie, Michael Bay's one, hasn't succeeded in making us care about anyone." I'm pretty sure pretty much every major character dies in the animated cartoon. So, yeah. John Swansburg of Slate, get those fucking glasses off your head, mate.
is he still working? Did he get fired soon after that?
I don't know.
Or...
Yeah.
5 days later, he was dead.
Yes. Yeah, I love this one. Gabe Toro of Cinema Blend wrote in 2004, "Transformers the movie otherwise provides the sort of chase-heavy thrills that come from robots that can become cars. Contrast that with Michael Bay's vision, where robots actually abandon their transforming skills to have endless violent punch-outs that annihilate cities. Bay's films show the action as a junkyard orgy. The 1986 offering slows down to allow actors like Leonard Nimoy, and yes, even Orson Welles, to give actual nuanced performances."
What? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I've seen more nuanced performances from the fucking speech option on the Commodore 64. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Pin, put it back in.
Sorry.
Because now we have hit the end of the wiki, including notes that it was going to be called Transformers the movie, The Death of Optimus Prime. Something of a spoiler, I feel.
Transformers the movie. Spoilers. Fuck you. Buy more toys.
But anyway, yeah, so there you go. But as is tradition, the guest or defendant, if you were on a different podcast, gets to go first. So, Martin, I think you kind of understand, I think, without us actually saying anything, where we might be coming from. Because we've been quite subtle about it. Would you like to tell us what you like about Transformers the movie, sir? And we're not judging you. Not at all.
Good night, everybody. Right.
That's been our show. Good night.
A little bit of history. I mean, I was kind of at the right age for this. I was about 7 years old, I think, when this came out. I remember going to the cinema. I remember buying the Ladybird book of the movie and trying to read it in the cinema for some reason.
No, too easy a target. No, back away. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the first I was aware of sort of being on video. One of the first things I properly coveted on video. I wanted the video, I wanted the soundtrack, and I've seen this many, many times over the years. Last time I think was about 5 years ago. I was still quite amazed at how I managed to recall it. Everything, just whatever scene was coming next, which is, it's not kind of like when you're an adult and you see a film like Monty Python, you can quote from it. It's just, I've never had that with any other film. Just recall about what's next. Right, this time, oh dear, I still enjoyed it. I still had a big grin on my face throughout this, kind of wallowing in the nostalgia. I do love the 80s soundtrack still. I've got a 17-minute medley on my iPod.
Oh my word. I tell you what, just for you. You carry on. I'll just put this down underneath as a bed. There you go. Go on. You carry on. See,
I'm looking at it there's a few things about the animation is a bit chonky. I mean, it does feel a bit dated now. It was actually over a lot. It was a shorter film than I remember it being, because I suppose when you're young, you remember everything as being epic,
yeah,
and sprawling and everything. And there's a few things. I mean, I'd never before realised that they fucking stole the opening crawl from Star Wars.
Yes,
I've never noticed that before. And of course, now the Unicron is a rip-off of Galactus, obviously. But I still think there's a lot of good about it. I still think Orson Welles is very good in his scenes as Unicron, and I still, when that music dum 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 kind of starts up, and I still think the regeneration sequence with Galvatron, I still think that's very well done. It still kind of takes me back. What else was I going to say?
No, it's fine. You take your time. No worries. Yeah. I mean, if you want to, we can carry on. And we'll do our bits, and you can step in if you like, or if you've got something specific you want to bring up. I mean,
I expect there will be acid flashbacks throughout.
I mean, what did you think of like all the characters being killed off?
I can't remember what my reaction was at the time. In all honesty, I think that's quite brave for a show like this. I don't know if you would get that today, if you would be so brutal as to kill off a lot of your main cast and a lot of much loved characters. I still also think this works as a big screen version of the cartoon. Unicron is a big enough threat. All the Transformers come together, well, sort of. Even though at the end it's kind of like, now peace will spread throughout the galaxy. Really? Okay, that quickly?
Yeah, a few thousand years of war have just been wiped out by everyone going, oh, let's fight the big fat guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blur's annoying, Wheelie's annoying. Then I think that was always, and Ultra Magnus as well.
Yes.
It's like when Galvatron, he's got the matrix of leadership. It's like, Light our darkest hour. Our darkest hour is me being attacked in an alleyway. Oh dear, Waitrose have run out of Prosecco. Please light our darkest hour.
Starscream as well. He buys it.
Yeah.
Starscream, yeah.
Yeah, having after being incompetent enough that he actually has to shoot his own foot off. I mean, no, stop it.
But yeah, the rose tinted specs are.
What? Hello?
Still, I'm afraid are still firmly welded on for this one. I enjoy watching it again. It'll be a while before I watch it again, I think.
Right.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a while before I watch it again, probably about another 5 years. But yeah, I still enjoy it. As I said, I still think it works as a big screen version of the TV show. Feels a bit dated now. But otherwise than that, I'm still happy with it.
Okay, so do you think it's purely because of the nostalgia factor, or is it?
I think that does play into it. Yeah, I think I do still hold a lot of this movie. Yeah, again, but then it's also. Who was it on the Facebook? Glenn Kimberley, I think, who said it's like the 80s injected into your eyeballs. And I do have a fondness for the 80s. I guess it kind of makes me think of when I was young and all the 80s hair rock and everything like that. And it is it is all tied together, isn't it? It's a very 80s film.
Yeah.
So you can't. So I don't think you can untangle the two. But I'd like to think I would be able to look at it objectively, and that's what I did this time round. I mean, obviously, with this podcast, we look at things objectively, try to see through all that. But I can't honestly hate it. I still had the big grin on my face. I still liked it. But then I suppose I also remember when I was a kid. I don't think some of those things you ever lose. Whereas if you're not. I think you've got to be the right age for this film, and you've got to be into the Transformers, I think, at the time. Whereas if I was a different age group coming to this, I probably wouldn't like it so much.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of where you are in your childhood with this. I mean, I think, what was it, 86?
Yeah.
I would have been 15.
Well, I was going to ask after the other week you talked about this, I mean, what was the kind of view of, yourselves and Darren as teenagers? I mean, was Transformers still was it a good thing? Was it a thing mainly for little kids, or was it just a phenomenon? Or was it?
Well, it was
still relevant for teenagers. What I'm stumbling to say, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we were watching it. We were watching it when it was on TVAM, weren't we, Dal?
Yeah, exactly. It was like it was when the kids used to come off of school, because I was 17 at the 17 at the time. Yeah, when this film came out. But I always remember, when they used to have. I mean, they did it when I was younger as well. When the kids were off on school holidays, suddenly the TV scheduling would change, and it would have a whole block of kids programs in the morning. And TVAM used to do this. They had Jason the Will Warriors, Pac-Man, all kinds of animated shows.
Wonder Boy one at one point as well, I think. And then there was the Wonder Twins, and then there was...
all that kind of stuff.
It was the age of Roland Rat as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was,
everything. I've got TB and rabies,
It's the cinematic dark age.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, those of you who were born after the year 2000, please do go to Google and look up Roland Rat and put in ... space, oh, for fuck's sake. Because guaranteed there'll be a lot of people saying that now, looking back on it.
Yeah, look up rat rapping as well.
Yeah, Mr.
That's
Blobby.
Instant classic, that was.
And Pink Bucket Man.
Oh, God.
Oh, Mallet's Mallet. There we go.
Oh, Wackaday.
I had a drawing on Wackaday once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
It is committed to videotape somewhere.
Yeah, whereas Timmy Mallet is just committed now. Yeah. Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll move on, get round the table, because we do have a lot of feedback as well, so we'll have to get through this a little bit. Well, not quickly, but certainly I think we can power on to the next people, and everyone just pile in after everyone's given their first impressions. So let's move to Elton, because he's our G.I. Joe man in the field. And I think there's a halfway house here somewhere.
There is, yeah. There's a lot of crossover between Transformers and G.I. Joe, and
Soundwave.
Who is it? It's Scatman, isn't it? No, it's
He's Jazz, I think.
yeah,
he's
Chris
Jazz.
Latta. He does Starscream.
Yes.
He also does Cobra Commander.
Oh, yeah, well, sounding pretty much like Starscream with a bucket on his head.
Yeah. But there is a lot of crossover between the G.I. Joe that I used to love and this. So I get where the nostalgia comes from, and I feel for the people that really have this nostalgia for this movie. I can see why. Because, Martin, when you were saying about it's almost ingrained in you, when you're looking back on it, you can remember the scenes coming up so well. I get that with the G.I. Joe movie that I used to watch again and again and again. But with this film, this is my third time I've ever seen it. The first time was in the early 90s when I borrowed it off a friend. The second time was for Witless, and this is the third time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came out of the Witless viewing, I quite liked it. I think I gave it a lot of passes just because, oh, fuck it, it's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Mm.
And this time, I don't know if it was more critical about it or if it just didn't. I just wasn't having it this time round.
Mm.
I came out thinking this was an utter pile of fucking. But it was a bag of puppies, really, was it? A dead bag of puppies. Just
Flip it, Nick.
yeah.
That's going on the poster.
Well,
That's definitely a poster one.
Some of the animation is really, really nice. Some of it is passable for TV, kids' TV as well. And then there's the rest, which is painful to watch, really. It's all over the place, but it does... I hate to say it, but it's as if Michael Bay really paid attention to this, and when he wanted the super up-close stuff, and he hit the nail on the head with this.
I think you're onto something there, Elton. Wow.
Shots fired.
I'll wait for the retaliation, but...
Yeah.
I have to say, I would still put this above the Michael Bay movies.
Okay.
That's a classic question for later, isn't it? I think, actually, we've all done our bit of...
Fair enough.
Where we rate this on the scale of Transformers films.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just not looking.
It's a dark place.
I'm not looking forward to that conversation.
Babylon 5, it's a dangerous place.
Yeah. Camelot, it's a silly place. Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, the animation. There are some really. There's seconds of really good animation. I'm not saying Akira or Ghost in the Shell type animation, but really good stuff. And the rest of it is just utter. It's terrible. It really is. It's worse than what I remember it being. The Autobots and the Decepticons, they change size. They change mass as well. And it's, if you need a big robot, oh, look, we have a big robot. If you need that robot to be smaller, oh, look, he's smaller again. There's no fixture on how big these robots are. They just constantly yo-yo up and down. I loved everything with Unicron, though. I thought that was really good. I think it had something to do with the music, which sets the tone for Unicron. And the change of, what's his name? Megatron into...
Galvatron,
yeah. I like the animation that they used there, where it looks like the boxes of the toys that you used to buy, which I thought was quite cool. But it's them beautiful bits are few and far between. I think the real problem occurs when you are introducing these new characters. And we've said, I think Jim said that there's 83
Transformers, apparently.
83, okay. And I'm worried about the new, well, I'm not really worried because it can go fucking die in a fire, but the new Marvel Avengers movie, where you're going to have so many new characters, you might end up with this sort of thing happening. There's just not enough space for all of them characters to fill out. Or it just gets too cramped. Yeah. You're seeing too many faces on the screen, and the ones you keep seeing are fucking annoying. That Blur guy, he can just fuck off as far as I'm concerned. There's just no need for that. It just done my head in. The Dot out of Spaceballs was doing my head in as well.
Yep.
But so I've always liked the Saturday cartoon movie from it. And if this was, I reckon, even though I haven't seen it for a long, long time, I reckon I could sit down and watch around about 90 minutes worth of the cartoon and thoroughly enjoy it. But this is the way they do it. I know it's for money reasons, and they tried to do it in the G.I. Joe thing as well. That is, try and kill off all your characters and bring in new toys. But what they did with the G.I. Joe thing is they saw this. People didn't like Optimus Prime dying. And so they tried the same story in the G.I. Joe, and they put him into a coma, and then he came out of the coma. So you've still got all your toys to play with the new people that you've brought in as well. And that's where that didn't really fail. It works a little bit better, and it had a pretty good story as well. But this, it's all over the place. It kills my favourite character, Starscream, straight away. And that's annoying. I get where he got his foot caught. I thought I like that tone of him getting his foot caught and having to shoot it off. I quite like that. I think that's desperate in some ways from his point of view. But yeah, it had a bit of vulnerability to them. They could die. They could die in there. Also, I have problems with Eric Idle just rocking up and just, what? Hang on. Where did he come from? That's really fucking jarring. And the shark transformer things as well.
Sharky-cons.
Sharky-cons. What the fuck was all that about?
Sharky-cons.
Sharky-cons. Yep.
But there's I know I said this in the wit list, but fuck it, I'm going to say it again because it bears repeating. Optimus Prime, he dies 3 times. He dies fucking 3 times. His eyes go out. Then he changes colour, so now he's died twice.
Yep.
Then his head rocks to the side. And you're like,
yep.
Okay, we get that he's dead.
Yes.
You could have just had his eyes shutting down. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's dead again. Oh, no, he's dead again. Oh, my God, he's died 3 fucking times. What the fuck is going on?
Yep.
At what point is he actually dead?
Yeah.
Is he dead? Someone poke him. Someone fucking shove a spanner up his ass. Is he fucking dead or not?
I'm feeling happy.
I'm not quite dead yet.
You're not fooling anyone. I feel better.
But I think I could pull through, sir.
No. Stay there, Patsy.
But yeah, it helped one of my favourite cartoons through a bad patch anyway, because they saw it took the critique of destroying Optimus Prime and the way they set about trying to bring in a whole new toy line. And they thought about it and they adjusted that for the G.I. Joe cartoons.
They combined the comics as well. Back in the late 80s, G.I. Joe and Transformers, those combined comics.
I have a couple upstairs. still have that. But yeah, I've got the Action Force ones, which are the UK version. not
Oh,
the American
yes.
version.
Yes.
Yeah. But of a whole, now, I wanted it to end. The music, that you've got the touch music.
Yeah.
The only reason that song is in there is for when I can't remember his name now. The
Hot Rod.
Hot Rod. Yeah, it's just there for him to pull that thing apart. That's the only moment that it works. They also play that song over the Megatron and Optimus Prime battle. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit.
Yep.
It feels out of place. The only time it feels in the correct place is when I can't remember his name again. I don't actually fucking care anymore. When he's pulling the big bulby thing over his head, and
Euphemism.
it works at that point when Hot Rod is doing his thing.
I do agree with you there, Elton. When they were having that fight and the touch did start up, I was thought, yeah, this is a bit out of place, isn't it? I don't remember this being here.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel well. Anyway, I'll step aside for someone else to kick it. I think I've got it on the floor now, guys.
Okay, Jim.
Oh, where to start with this? Well, I have no history with the Transformers at all. Now, the premise of this podcast is, we look back and take the rose-tinted specs off. I have no rose-tinted specs at all.
Yep.
To me, Transformers were just kind of, yeah, right, they're not as good as the toys I had. I had Cyborg and Muton, which were robotic things that turned into other robotic things. I had Micronauts, who had lots of great vehicles that turned into other great vehicles.
Yeah.
So to have a robot that turns into a cassette player and a dumper truck seemed like a shoddy deal. It was only ever half good. But so for me, it is kind of. I didn't see this until I covered it for Witless. But then again, this died on its arse at the box office. So not that many people actually saw it at its original release. And I did do my homework to try and get a sense of where this fits. And this comes between season 2 and 3 of the cartoon.
Yeah.
And essentially it kills off the G1 range, I believe, and it ushers in the G2 characters. Now, just sort of coming to an outsider, it's kind of, surely this is a terribly sucky idea, because you come into the film, if you've not watched 2 seasons of Transformers cartoons, they ain't going to give you any introduction to what's going on or who these characters are. But then they kill them off in the first 15 minutes, introduce a whole bunch of other new characters who they don't even introduce properly either. And it just, every scene just shouts, fuck off, buy some more toys. Screw you, buy more toys. Does this make sense? Who gives a fuck? Buy some more toys, you little cunts. And just goes on and on. When I did this for Witless, which was a show where, we judge films as a guilty pleasure, I think, I gave this as a pass because, if people have nostalgia for it and blah, 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 and grew up with it and they still enjoy it, fair enough. I won't rain on your parade. However, for this particular podcast and our remit coming to it, fuck you. Jesus, this is awful. This is cynical and awful, on every level, I think. It's a real betrayal of the fans and the audience, as far as I can see. And the music, Elton touched on it. When it got the credits and they said they had a musical director, I laughed in the most cynical fashion because, as far as I could see, their approach to doing the score was leaving on a soft rock radio station and just taping that. No effort made to make it fit the action at all. Optimus Prime was dying. It's a heartbreaking scene, allegedly, so I'm told. And so we have, you got the touch, you're on a register, going on in the background. Well done. A real elegy for a beloved character. Fucking hell.
Yeah. He's just a dad.
Give me if I'm wrong. He's a robot. Can't you, get the fucking spanners out? Is it life or death? Why do Transformers, who don't breathe anyway, need other Transformers to ride around in? I don't understand. Why does one turn into a train and fly off into space? Why is there a Mexican standoff with Optimus Prime and they're both reaching for a gun when the baddie Transformer is a giant gun? What the fuck is this bollocks? It just goes on. I've criticised the Michael Bay films as being kind of a classic example of letting, I don't know, a chimp or hopped up on speed, hooked up to a speak and spell machine, write your script, and this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then they all blowed up. And it's kind of, I said, it's fucking here. This is no better than the Bay films. In fact, I think this is worse than several of the Bay films.
Again, I mean, shots fired.
I mean, the first Transformers film is a travesty, and it annoyed me. But at least has a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, and
it introduces the characters. It does everything else wrong and completely spunks away the premise of the. Of the potential of the franchise, but at least it has that basic story structure and some actual character work. All right, it is shit character work with Bumblebee pissing on people for cheap laughs, but it's more than you get in this, where Bumblebee goes honk honk, oh, I'm dead. Thanks. Oh, it was just bloody ghastly. I mean, I'd put it on par with sort of Revenge of the Fallen. It's that kind of just goes on and on and on. I mean, I sat down with good intentions. I didn't sit down, right, I'm going to give this a kick in. I sat down and it started going, well, this is all right. And then after about the 15 minutes, I don't know what's going on and I don't care.
Okay. But what did you really think about it, Jim? Well, there you go. I mean, I think Jim's put it down succinctly. Darren, do you have anything to add, sir?
Back in 1986, Judd Nelson, Robert Stack, Leonard Nimoy, and Orson Welles all woke up in a hotel room in the middle of Las Vegas with no memory of how they got there. All they remember is all turning up for the same Jaffa Cake commercial, the audition for that, and then it all goes blank. Transformers the movie is what happened in that period of time that they don't remember.
It's the Hangover movie for voiceover actors.
That's basically what it is. Yeah, it's this.
The thing is, I didn't even recognise. I knew Judd Nelson was in it. I knew Leonard Nimoy was in it. I recognised Orson Welles but all the rest, Robert Stack, Robert's in disguise.
I heard him. He was fucking ultra fucking useless Magnus.
I never realised
he was
Judd
Magnus,
Nelson
Ultra
until
Magnus
this time.
Pike. That's who he was.
Judd Nelson? Who was Judd Nelson?
Judd Nelson was Hot Rod.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sakes. Really?
Hot Rod. Rodimus Prime.
Rodimus
the one who got
Prime.
every fucker killed. Him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roddy, fucking Rowdy Roddy.
Most Prime.
Mus Prime. Him. The wrestling dude. Fucking hell. What a fucking state. Really. This whole fucking film. I'm sorry. Oh, we're in deep space. Now we're fucking underwater. What the fuck? What happened there? Again, it's this whole fucking blackout shit going on. Much like the actors had when they made this. That's what happened to the Transformers.
Yeah.
It's like somebody was painting the inside of the starship and it got a bit kind of, the fumes got a bit strong and suddenly they're fighting these Sharko bots or whatever the fuck they're called. What was it? Sharkicons?
Sharkicons.
Sharkicons.
Or Sharkticons, depending.
Sharkticons.
Yeah.
It didn't look like sharks.
No,
It looked like some terrible bastard child from Slimer and a toaster.
They're more like piranhas.
Piranicons. There we go. I see. I've made up my own Transformer now. Piranicons.
You got an entire fucking toy line out of that, mate.
Jesus Christ.
Piranicons, they eat any old shit.
So let me get this straight, right? These things are called Sharkticons, right?
Yes.
Now, normally, right, when something is called a con, right, in this universe, it means a whole range of these transforming robots that go from things like jet planes to helicopters, stuff like this. You're a bit limited with a Sharky-Con. I mean, that's a fucking toy range, isn't it? That. You know, they just like repaint the same model 4,000 times. There we go. Have that lot. There's Bob, the Sharky-Con. There's John. There's Colin. There's Kevin. You know, you've got the lot right there.
Yeah.
So a bit of a crap range.
It's Megatron going up. Megatron talking to them would be like sort of like the Emperor going up the escalator in Adult Swim, isn't it? Stormtrooper,
Exactly.
Stormtrooper, 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 Stormtrooper.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on half the time of this film. I really didn't. Right? I'm watching this, and it gets to that bit again when they've just sort of like done the whole thing of dumping half the ship, you know, and like they're looking at Optimus Prime or whoever it is in charge. You do realise you've just dumped all of the toilet paper, don't you? What are we going to do now? Seriously, what? You know, we're in a bit of a fix.
Yeah.
And the sleeping quarters were there as well. So well fucking done.
Yeah, that's
there.
it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well done, you. And charging units as well, all gone out the window.
Yep.
But anyway, they go through, and it's like you've got the two ships split up, and one of them gets damaged. You've got a whole bunch of sort of like fucking Transformers on one, a whole bunch of Transformers in the other. They get to this planet. They do that bit where they suddenly end up underwater fighting these things in seaweed or whatever the fuck it was that was there. And I'm thinking, hold on, wasn't that Transformer on board the other ship that's like about 30,000 light years away? I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I really didn't. They kind of all blended into one fucking robot by the end of it. I couldn't
and what
tell.
was that bollocks about the universal greeting? Was it poo bum wank and a picture of the devil or whatever bollocks that you bring on about?
Bar ram you, to your flock and self be true.
I think it was something so...
Ninibon.
It was probably an input by fucking Eric fucking Moneybags Idol. That's what it was.
Hold on. What was that, Martin?
Bar weep, granar weep, ninibon.
Bar weep, granar weep, ninibon.
Bar weep, granar weep, ninibon. The universal greeting.
Garawit, Marwit, mini cheese.
Baby Bell.
Baby Bell.
Baby Bill.
Marwit, Baby Bell, mini cheese. I understand completely.
Yep. Yeah, and it makes perfect sense now. I feel nothing but love for my fellow man now. I've heard that.
Exactly. Personally,
Yep.
where the animation was concerned, this is everything I hated about the anime. This film.
Yeah.
I really can't stand the animation in this movie. It just doesn't do it for me at all. It looks cheap. It looks really badly done. Mind you, now you're telling me that they were trying to do a TV series and a film at the same time. Now I understand. Now I understand why it looked to me a bit on the shonky side.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them credit. You know, they were working in a situation that I certainly wouldn't have wanted to work in.
Yeah, okay, so we'll give them that. Give them that.
Yeah, right? We'll cut them some slack.
But do you know what this film actually made me feel?
Sad.
It made me feel sorry for Michael Bay. That's what it made me feel. Because I'm sure he walked into the office and he said, there we go, here's your fucking source material. And he went, you want me to, I mean, look, I know I've made some dodgy films in my past, but you want me to make a live action movie out of this?
Yeah.
Serious. You're not laughing, are you? No, of course you're not, because you are serious. No. I thought that personally, I enjoyed the first Transformers movie a lot more than I enjoyed this one.
Again.
I really think, for me, if I to enjoy this, I would have to have rose tinted spectacles, the size, shape, and power of the fucking Hubble telescope to actually enjoy this. I really would, because no, sorry, no, just no.
just
I understand everybody's got that people like what they like.
Yes,
but and a lot of the time I can see where they're coming from, but with this, no.
Yeah,
I can't. For me, this film is so bad. I personally can't understand why people like it. at all. But then that's me.
Okay, fair enough. You all right over there, Martin?
I'm fine. I'm having a nice chat with Reg Varney over here.
Yeah, it's actually starting to sound more like the end of the Young Ones episode where they're going on a summer holiday on the bus. Yeah, for me, I've got to be honest with you. I sat there, I watched 90 minutes of flashing images, and while someone played 80s soft rock at me, I didn't have a first fucking clue what was going on. Not a Scooby-Doo. I a little bit back history. I mean, as we said earlier, you know, Darren and I, you know, we were sort of in the sort of in the same sort of age group, but over the summer holidays, you know, Transformers was kind of like the main staple in the morning.
Yep.
And so it wasn't like I didn't have a familiarity with the characters or the animation style. It's just, like those, do you remember those old Marvel comic cartoons where they literally just animate nothing but the mouth?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And you'd sort of, back in the day, you're sitting there going, oh, that's quite cool. I'm getting to see Captain America. He's throwing his shield, when actually it's just a still frame of the shield, and basically someone's got a hold of it with a thumb in each corner, sort of moving it slowly away from the camera. And I just literally I watched this film thinking, then you watch it again and you look at those cartoons again and you go, God Almighty, that is just dire. But the story, let's go over the story and see what's there. And you still sitting there go, actually, this is like those Daily Star Judge Dredd strips where they try and fit like the entire Apocalypse War into like 3 frames. And this Transformers movie, I literally sat there going, okay, this is the start. This is a battle. We're going to find out what's going on now. We're going to find out what the plot is now. Something's going to happen right now that's going to make all of this very clear. And within 10 minutes, Optimus Prime is dead. And I'm like, oh, I thought that... I mean, because I haven't seen the actual film for a very, 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 very long time, if at all. I'm trying to remember if I actually ever saw it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm sure that should come at the end, because that does seem like something of a climactic conclusion to a story. And then Unibrow turns up with his farting butthole planet. Every time he talks, this big, enormous, colossal sphincter has to open up, and then goes, I'm Orson Welles. Hello. And it eats a planet. And that's it. It just carries on. I don't get what the deal was with him, other than he was just a force of nature that just rolled from one planet to the other. It had no bearing on the plot whatsoever, apart from changing Megatron into Galvatron after Megatron had his arse handed to him. The whole bollocks with Hot Rod, or whatever his name is, on the planet of the alien with the dangly tentacles, Judgment Day thing, with the 3 heads and the swirly shitticons, or whatever the fuck they were.
Called the Quintessons.
The Quintessons?
Yes.
Thank you for that. I don't know. Evanescence? I don't know. It's just that whole thing was just utterly throwaway. And then it dawned on me, this wasn't a movie. This was individual episodes. This was like when you watch those Buster Crab sort of Flash Gordon movies, where at the end of every scene he appears to fall off a cliff, and then you get told 5 seconds later, actually he didn't. He jumped out 2 minutes earlier, and you're like, no, I literally just saw him fall off a cliff. But because it's stitched together, you don't get that week in between going, now, did I really see that? Oh, maybe he did get away. Well, blimey, that was clever. But this whole film is that whole thing of suddenly like, oh, here comes Unicorn, he's eating a planet, and that's where it should fade to black. Done. And then the next one is, oh, Optimus Prime is dead. Fade to black. Done. Then the next one is 20 episodes of Dragon Ball Z, a.k.a. we're just going to have lots of people looking at each other going, for 40 minutes while they all shoot each other. And then there's, and suddenly, randomly, for no apparent reason, Rodimus Prime is on this planet of water talking to a bunch of robots which have no bearing on the story whatsoever because reasons. And now they have to escape by turning into cars underwater and driving around to create a whirlpool to escape when they are actually robots that can fly. I mean, you know, hate to bring this point up, but if you've got the ability to fly, surely turning into a car, the least aquanautically able vehicle on Earth or any universe, and trying to create some kind of vortex underwater as a seems a bit foolish. But obviously they had some whirlpool animation in the back of the straw somewhere, and so they had some shark piranha designs, and they thought, well, fuck it, that'll cover a few minutes. And that whole sequence, that is 20 minutes of that film that does nothing, results in nothing, ends up in nothing. What happens? Nothing. I mean, apart from here's some cool designs and an episode of the film, of this TV show in the middle of your film. What's it doing? I don't know. Yeah. And then there's the whole thing with Megatron becoming basically the Silver Surfer for Unibrow. I mean, you know, or Uniqlo if you prefer. I mean, it's just. I don't get it. I don't get any of it. I literally, if you were to ask me to recount the plot from point A to point B, noting points all the way in between, I can't do it. I literally cannot do it. I see images. I feel like I'm in that fucking. Was it Manchurian Candidate? You know when they get Warren Beatty and they put him in a chair, or was it Warren Beatty, or was it it was Frank Sinatra, wasn't it? And they put
remember that. The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, the one where they basically brainwash people into being sleeper agents.
Yeah, that's Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, that's it. And they do that kind of weird, sort of hippie kind of thing, and they flash a load of images at him. Until finally he kind of gets brainwashed into being an assassin and not remembering anything. But if he sees a certain key set of images, he'll just go off on one like a kill-crazy fucking mentalist. And I feel like that. I feel like Transformers the movie, watching it, is like the Ring curse. I literally was waiting for the phone to ring after that thing finished and someone to tell me that in 7 days I was going to die because I didn't understand any of the images that were on that screen. Literally, it's like looking into a bag of magnetic poetry tiles. Individually, they are all words that I recognise. Together, they make no sense. None at all. Not a thing. Not a jot. I just didn't. I remember Optimus Prime dying. I remember the stupid Sharky-Cons. I don't remember what Eric Idle's character did at all, apart from being on a junk planet. I do have a note here that actually says. I do have a note here which says every alien in the universe apart from Earth is basically a machine.
Yeah, which it seemed to be.
Yeah, which isn't the greatest insight, I think, from me, writing down notes for a film like this. So I must have either passed out, dribbled off, or my brain must have just took a dive. It was just colourful, loud bollocks that made zero sense to me whatsoever. I genuinely thought I must have fallen asleep, and I watched it again, and it still doesn't make sense, and it still doesn't sit in my brain, and I still can't tell you the plot. I can tell you that Robert Stack was Ultra Magnus, and that he spent his last moments trying to unwrap a Terry's chocolate orange. But I can't tell you. Tap it, unwrap it, Ultra Magnus. That's how you get it, mate. That's what you need. Don't try and pull it apart, mate. You're on a hiding to nothing. Tap it, unwrap it. Jesus, some fucking robots. I mean, and I remember the what was the Constructicons? When they just
the green ones.
Yeah, they all come together and then
Devastator.
Devastator.
And then they all stand around and they all start punching on the door. And it's like, okay, this is going somewhere. And then what happens? Not a lot. It takes a shot in the back, euphemism, and then fucks off. And that's the end of them. That's the last you ever see them. And it's like, oh, okay. And then the Dinobots were there for reasons. Things happened. Things got thrown at other things. Shit, it was just a kaleidoscope of nonsense. I think that's it. It's just visual gibberish from beginning to end, with the worst of 80s cock rock, big hair cock rock that I've ever heard. And trust me, I don't have the best musical tastes ever, but when you suddenly think, you know what, I could really go to listening to some Chicago If You Leave Me Now after that, and you think if that's your step up, you're in all sorts of trouble. I mean, really, I can't tell you anything. I can't tell you anything about it. I don't even know. I mean, as Jim's rightly pointed out, all I noticed was that everyone that I thought I knew died, and everyone who was left behind got changed into something else, and it was just like toy, 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 toy. It was like, yeah, fine, okay. So none of this makes any sense. None of this. In fact, the last 10 minutes is actually the plot, which is all Transformers have to stop fighting to fight a big world-eating monster.
Mm-hmm.
So the other 70 minutes, and even then, how the fuck does he? Do they kill Unicron with the Terry's chocolate orange of power? I mean, yeah.
You got the touch.
He also suffers, I think, a fatal change in scale.
Well, he does, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you can fold up into a planet, your hand has got to be the size of a small continent, and yet somehow he doesn't decide he's going to swat like the entire life off of Cybertron in a single blow. But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say that the Bay Transformers movies are better, because they are awful in their own special way. In the way of I feel like Christopher Reeve in Superman 3 when evil Superman gets put in the car crusher. And he's like stuck in there with Clark Kent gets stuck in the car crusher, and you get that one shot of like someone inside the car crusher as the doors close over, and there's all that twisted steel in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Michael Bay movie, but even that's just nonsense. But that's just grey drab nonsense. I don't know.
I quite like the first Bay Transformers. I've got a soft spot for that, but this is way below it.
I tell you what, I'll give you that the first 5 minutes when that helicopter turns up, and you suddenly get the whole thing of the pilot being a hologram, and then it basically unfolds and it destroys that military base. That I thought was impressive, and that I still remember to this day. But if you were to ask me what happens to Devastator or Galvatron after this film, at the end of this film, I couldn't tell you. I just generally can't.
Garytron.
Yeah, Garytron.
Garytron.
And who were his purple mates? Who were they?
This is a ship that you are flying.
Yes, this is the ship that you will fly in. Really? Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'm glad. And then one of them gets this corkscrew ship that looks like some kind of, I don't know, like someone just did a scribble on the page, and then someone went, "Nope, no, don't do it."
Ship.
What the what? Sorry.
That was the Quintessence ship
Oh right, okay.
they got from they got after the Escape the Sharkons.
Oh, there you go.
You know, I love the way that Jin reminded me that one of them was a fucking train.
Oh god, the flying
Yeah,
train.
Astro train. And it's not even a modern-looking train; it's a fucking steam train.
Yeah,
in
they all-
space, you fuckers.
They all pile in, and then it's right. Get us out of here.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
Doodle-oo,
Seriously, fuck off!
doodle-oo, doodle-oo,
Fucking Astro train.
doodle-oo.
You have caused confusion and delay.
Boom, 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 boom.
You're our friends, the trifle cons, that turn into trifle. They're not much fucking use, but it's another toy we can sell.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the teacupper cons.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Here is the boxing glovicon.
The kettle bots.
Yeah. Here's the love handler con for evening wear. The lady massager cons.
The staple con for all your stationery needs.
The shopping bago cons.
Yeah. I think we've given it. I think we've kicked it to death. I think we've kicked it to death.
I don't know, it's still twitching.
Well, don't worry, because there's going to be lots of people. I suspect we may be in the minority on the feedback. That's all I'm going to say.
Just one other thing. Did anybody spot the swearing?
Yes.
With a kid that says, shit!
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
When
quite
they were
shocked
being
by that,
chased.
actually. I never noticed that before. I was like, fucking hell, I was swearing.
Fucking hell, they're swearing. Yeah. Oh, dear.
If you look in the outtake bit, it's every time somebody gets done over because of something that fucking Hot Rod does, they just look at me, cunt, and then die.
Yeah, Hot Rod as a character was basically a bit of a taint on the entire film.
Yes.
Because everything he did was supposed to make him look cool or give him an angsty kind of backstory, but all it did was make him look like an incompetent tosser.
Yeah.
He's
He-
a typical 80s teenager.
Yeah,
Character.
but there should be a moment of redemption rather than just, I can open the mighty Terry's chocolate orange of power. Ergo, I'm the leader. You can almost hear everyone else going, oh, fucking hell, he would, wouldn't he?
It's a sword in the stone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it is that whole thing of just everyone, oh, fuck. You sure you can't hand it to someone else? Someone else want to go first before we give it to him. Come on. Pass it round. Let's all have a crack. Come on.
Bumblebee, you ever go? Oh no, you're dead.
Unicron have a go. Oh, yeah, Bumblebee. Yeah. We'll just kill Bumblebee. He's a fan favourite. Who cares? The only one who survives is bloody Soundwave. Soundwave. And he doesn't even get a decent moment apart from suddenly I'm following you, Starscream. And then 5 seconds later Galvatron turns up, shoots Starscream in the face, and then next thing you get is a shot of Soundwave kind of waving his arms in the air going, I've always liked you, Galvatron. You were always my favourite. Yes, I am.
There's a robot that is working in one of the towers, and he turns into a cassette player. He's the good one, the red one. And yet why does he have to turn into a ghetto blaster to make an announcement? And why can't he just do it himself?
Because he's down with the kids. That's what he is.
See, this is what I love about it. A lot of people go on about the sort of the dodgy racial stereotyping in Michael Bay's film, but fucking hell, you've got it in this one.
Oh,
so let's
yeah.
see. You've got Scatman Carruthers, who's playing someone called Jazz, right? Okay.
Yep.
In that, you've got the other. I think it was the other character played by another black actor who turned into a ghetto blaster. It's like
That character is actually called Blaster.
really.
Yeah, they did a lot of focus testing on that name.
Does he do a rap as well, by any chance, in it? Does he have a rap battle with one of the other Transformers? I'm sure he fucking does.
Soundwave's gonna give you a rap battle. Soundwave's gonna give you what up? I fucked your mama from the north to the south. Sound wave rap battle. Yeah, bitches. Meaty sound wave coming at you. 5,000 G. Peace out.
Considering the vintage of this film, I'm amazed there wasn't a rap number in it, actually.
There was a dance.
Oh, God, there was a funky
there was a
dance.
fucking
Jan
dance.
Malkovich.
Oh,
Jesus.
there was the. Oh God, what was that? That was the. Fuck. What was?
The Heidi Ho.
Oh, the hiddly pop and pibbly bum one. Oh,
What the fuck? I forgot about that fucking
Here's the
thing.
story of Minnie the Cooper. He was a real live hoochie coocher.
howdy, 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 howdy. Yeah.
Some boy jazz.
We've not mentioned the Dino Batch yet.
Oh, the Dinobots.
Now they actually survived, don't they?
Do they?
I think so.
I couldn't tell you. They disappear for the final battle and never get mentioned again.
Yeah.
Do you know the big final cock slap this film delivers?
What's
There's
that?
peace among the Transformers until season 3 starts and all fucking fighting again, rendering the whole thing utterly pointless.
Yeah. Oh. Just sorry, I've just found another bit. Well, who was the one who kept talking really, really quickly because he's on like fucking PCP and speed and fucking amphetamines?
That was Blur.
What was that all about? What was that actually about? What? Because his character. The more I'm thinking about it, the more his character turns up, says a load of shit, and then just fucks off and is never seen again.
Because
the
he
whole
moves
point.
quickly in shit.
But what did he actually do in the film? In the story?
I think you have to look at the special Hasbro added pages to the Big Book of Blackdog, which
Yeah.
is "Fuck you, buy some more toys."
Page 2, the Black Dog book. It has been written. It shall be set down.
Finally, after about 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. Finally,
There's
we
a
got.
second page.
There's a page 2. Fuck you and buy some toys. Shut up. That's why. And fuck you, buy some toys. Nice. Well, there you go. See, significant episode. Oh well, there you go. Yeah. What?
Sorry, I'm just looking at some of these pictures.
What, the ones I put on the chat?
Yep. The one is Optimus Prime's a fucking bin.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have much more fun in the chat than we do. Yeah.
Soundwave turning himself on.
He does, though. He's the only Transformer who has all these functionality built into him, but except the front door on his own chest, and he has to press a button down by his cock. I'm just going to press this. I'm not really rubbing it. Honestly, I'm just making the door open.
Auto eject.
Stop looking at me.
This is not sexual.
It's coming out. No, the tapes. Ravage. This is nope. Look. I'm pressing the button. The tapes are jammed. Honest.
Oh no, I've just spooled all over the place. It's never happened before. Honest.
Why are we still doing this? Look away. Would you like a photo? It would last longer. I'm just going into the toilet. I'll be right back. Oh, by the way, actually, bodily functions, right? What was the deal with the fact that hot Rodimus Prime, Rodimus Dow, he can go and swim underwater, turn into a car, drive underwater, stay underwater, breathe underwater, because he's a robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how come towards the end, Galvatron is choking the life out of him?
Yep.
Martin? Am I writing down Is that page 3 of the Black Dog book?
Fuck you, buy some more toys.
Shut up, that's why.
I mean, what? Yeah, never mind. Okay, fine. I think we should move on to feedback. I do. I think I grab myself the chocolate orange of power And I declare,
You got the touch.
you get the power. Yeah. Anyway, yes. Oh, by the way, what happened to the kid as well? I'm having flashbacks, major flashbacks. What happened to the kid who was in the stupid fishbowl robot head thing?
He saved his dad, who we haven't seen since the second scene in the movie,
Yeah, who's presumed
from being
dead.
dropped in a giant frying pan, and then, fuck you, buy some more toys.
There you go.
They were both in Unicron, so presumably they made it out.
Did you presume?
I'm trying to remember whether they were in the end scene or not. Because the kid saves his dad from being dropped in the acid in Unicron's stomach.
Oh, was that inside Unicron?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Twice I watched that, I didn't realise that.
Well, yeah, there's one moment where
I think he gets out with Rodimus Prime.
he's chewing stuff up inside, and then all of a sudden that doesn't matter because now they're getting dropped into vats to be melted.
Oh, yeah.
There was some gruesome bits in there where there was two robots bouncing around in one of the vats, and they were heating up and then melting. I thought that was quite cool.
I don't remember that at all.
No,
No.
it was almost the T2. What was the Terminator one where he thumbs up? It's almost very
T2.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Right. I genuinely, I don't know. I just can't. My brain just isn't processing it. It's just, yeah. Feedback. Let's do the feedback. Pull the ripcord.
Guilty or innocent?
Nice.
Now put your hands up, here online, doing real fine. We're doing our podcast thing. It's called Blackdog, it's not like a job. Is anyone there listening? What do you think of our show? Let us know by MP3 or email. Just get it to us, it ain't no fuss. We'll even read your Twitter rings. Cause if you like us or you hate us, send some feedback in. Gotta geek and punch and put some feedback in. If you think my voice is sexy, put some feedback in. Man, we really like it if you put some feedback in.
Right, okay, so it's time for feedback. Well, let's start the feedback with the return of an old feedbacker from days past. It is indeed the Otter Puncher, Jack P. Starro. And he has returned to us from way out on the cursed earth fighting mutant otters to give us this piece of feedback for Transformers. Greetings from the past, yon doggers of the black. Long time no righty rights. Thanks to Michael Bay, Transformers has been a bit of a joke in the broader culture. But as a long-time Transformers fan since childhood, it's a mutable franchise that has had more ups and downs and different continuities and interpretations than just about anything short of Batman. Animated movie, even in its own time, was divisive. Old school fans were split between those who were on board with the sudden leap forward, the future year of 2005, and the changing up of most of the main characters into new ones, versus those who were offended by this radical change. I was in the latter camp. I liked the new characters and the shake-up in the status quo, and the fact that one of the few kiddie shoes from the 1980s. Oh, I think that means shows. I think he mistyped there. From the 1980s that explicitly concerned a war finally had some on-screen consequences, with characters dying. And yes, I was one of those kids that was legitimately sad at Optimus Prime's dying. Although I wasn't actually traumatized, I hasten that this was back when Optimus was actually a legitimately heroic character and a conflicted pacifist, before Michael Bay turned him into a bloodthirsty war criminal who executes unarmed prisoners begging for their lives. I've seen this movie many, many times, so I acknowledge a certain bias here, but I did recently watch it again for the first time in at least 5 to 10 years, showing it to my girlfriend for the first time. I realised, hardly to my surprise, that it's pretty incomprehensible to the non-fan of the franchise, or at any rate the preceding 2 seasons of the original 80s cartoon. However, she did enjoy a thoroughly good chuckle at my expense, watching me rock out to the hair metal cock rock soundtrack, which to this day still has kind of shaped my limited appreciation of the music genre. I still think the animation is beautiful, and that some of the story ideas are great, such as Unicron, the planet-sized evil transformer who eats other planets, even though their sense of scale throughout this movie is hilariously off base. The final fight to the death between Optimus and Megatron remains an all-time highlight of the franchise, as does Galvatron's "here's a hint" line before he deservedly atomizes Starscream at long last. So yeah, hard to truly remove the rose-tinted specs on this one, still remains a big nostalgic favourite. Till then, until all are one, bitches, Dr. Jack the Otter Puncher out. So there you go. See, Martin, you've got someone on your side already. There you go.
Yay.
Yeah. And, he acknowledges that it is all nostalgia-driven, or at least for the most part, anyway. I can't agree about the animation. I think the animation in stills looks lovely, because, most anime does. It has a certain style about it, but the actual animation started to get down to being... They used to do this thing where they used to animate keyframes on 2s. So, like, every 2 frames there'd be an actual frame of animation changing. But there comes a point where they start to do it on 12s in this one, where you actually wait, like, half a second before anything actually moves again. And some of it looks a bit jinky and janky, but hey-ho. But
it's
anyway...
too flat.
Yeah, but I mean, I will give it its credit for the fact that at the end of the day, back in the 80s, all animation looked like that. Which is why things like when Akira came out in the sort of very late 80s, and then later Ghost in the Shell, and everyone went, because it was literally outside of Disney. You hadn't seen that quality of animation. So, I don't know. For me, that Chasing the World Warriors... Ulysses 31, that kind of stuff.
Everything had more or less the same look to it, didn't it?
Yeah, Lost Cities of Gold.
It's any worse than anything that was
all done
there.
by the same sweatshops, that's why.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, they all became...
In fairness, though, I understand, though, compared to the Transformers TV series, the movie is a real step up in terms of animation from what they were doing on the TV show.
Yeah.
But I did look at someone on YouTube. I thought, oh my God, the TV show is really,
yeah,
epilepsy-inducing.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch more than 5 minutes because it was just so herky and jerky. It's kind of, guys, you knew the concept of animation. You move it a little bit between frames. No, you're not bothering with that? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. What this is just a very slow flicker book. But anyway, so thank you very much for that, Jack. Good feedback. Glad you liked it, and you at least acknowledged the. Well, that sounds a bit patronising, but you at least acknowledged the fact that there's a lot of nostalgia in it. I mean, this week I've been talking to a few people at work who actually bothered to talk to me, and I mentioned things like Transformers movie, and there seems to be this very kind of it's amazing or I've never seen it, and the things I have seen don't impress me. Kind of, there's a black and white. There doesn't seem to be shades of grey in this one. So I am expecting more like Jack's feedback in the future. But anyway, thank you very much, Jack. Good to hear from you again, sir. Hope you're well. So let's move on then, and we'll move on to you, Darren. Who do you have first?
Okay, the first one is from Fred Lubnow.
Dr. Scum from lovecraftianscience.wordpress.com.
Indeed. And he sends a mail titled, "Finish him off, Prime. Do it now."
Well, of course.
And he says, "Hello, Blackdog crew. Hope all is well. First, when the Transformers came out as a toy or show, I don't really know which came first. I was in high school, college. So I have that should have been high school / college. So I have no nostalgic interest in the Transformers whatsoever. Second, in my opinion, I simply find the concept of the Transformers stupid. If done in a certain way, I guess the idea could have had some promise, but an alien coming down to convert itself into a cassette or VHS tape recorder just seems beyond silly. Relative to all of the blockbuster movies, never saw any of them in the theatre, but I rented each one, and for me, they all sucked. Boring, confusing, and lame. Every time I put one of these movies on, I find myself spending more time working on the laptop watching the movie. I think Dark of the Moon was the one I hated the least. But to be honest, they all bleed into each other for me. Thus, I was hesitant in watching 1987's Transformers movie. I must admit, the first few minutes were actually interesting. I was getting a heavy metal vibe and thought, hey, this could be fun. And then the plot began. I know this was written for kids, but it was written by kids. Even animated, I couldn't keep track of who is who, and the story seemed more and more ridiculous as it progressed. The Transformers themselves acted pretty much like a bunch of middle school kids fighting on a playground during recess. The bad guy who is drifting in space, don't care what his name is, Slipstream, Rotor Blades, Full Bladder, whatever. And picked up by the Planet Eater Unicron, acted like a spoilt child as opposed to being thankful for being rescued and repaired. Thought Orson Welles' voice was fine as Unicron, but nothing that would have recommended this film to anyone. But nothing that would have had me recommending this film to anyone except a diehard Transformers fan. And then lines like, I got better things to do today than die, made this film even more ridiculous. Like all Transformers movie, a complete waste of time for me. Yes, I was working on a laptop while this crap was spinning on my Blu-ray, but I didn't watch it. We'll never watch it again. Thank you, Blackdog, and looking forward to next week's film. Fred, Dr. Scum, love now.
Thank you, Dr. Scum. And he doesn't learn, does he? He keeps saying he looks forward to next week's film every time. I think he's getting Stockholm Syndrome. Well, thank you very much anyway, Dr. Scum. I'm very much down with that. You can't keep track of who or what's going on.
Full bladder.
I like that. Rotor blades, full bladder. And the whole spoilt child thing is a very good point as well. Again, another thing that's completely passed me by because I was half the time couldn't even work out what the fuck was going on. Was, that whole thing of, I've brought you back to life, Megatron. Well, when are you going to let me go? I want to go and do something else. Yeah. Not, oh, thanks very much. What can I do to help to repay my debt? It's like, I'm bored. I want to have a spaceship. Give me some friends. I want to go kill Optimus Prime. I want the chocolate orange of power. I mean, straight away, fuck off. Anyway, well, thank you very much again, Dr. Scum. And if you like, what he has to say and how he says it, then by all means do jump over to lovecraftianscience.wordpress.com. Right, let's move on. So, Jim, who do you have next?
We have Murray the Pie Man Christensen.
And what does he have to say?
He said, "Greetings, gentlemen. You have chosen the very best Transformers film ever made. Well done."
That's like picking the greatest, the most bestest.
Good start.
It's the bestest murderer out of this line of murderers you're in a room with.
I think that line might be in the next year's Oxford English Dictionary under damning with faint praise.
Yeah.
But anyhow, Murray continues.
Yeah.
How much joy you get from this really depends on how important Transformers were to your childhood. You have to remember that I am very much of the post-Star Wars generation. I was born in 1979. So by the time I was aware of the mass phenomenon of Star Wars, it was just about over. My childhood obsessions were largely based around 25-minute toy commercials masquerading as Saturday morning cartoons. When I first saw this, it blew my tiny mind. The thumping synth rock soundtrack backing near constant action was exactly what I needed when I was a kid. Now, I have noticed that some people my age sometimes mistake things that we love through mostly nostalgia to be genuine classics. Take The Goonies. Please do.
Yes.
If you saw it when you were 10, you'll love it now as much as I do. But if you didn't see it at the time, at the right age, you will genuinely wonder what all the fuss is about. We assume that our cultural and nostalgic touchstones are universal and become confused when people don't feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
There are actual classics of that era, but many of the kids' films don't really stand up without nostalgia. That said, I bloody love Transformers, but I do understand that if you didn't grow up with it, this film then will be seen as a noisy, garish mess.
Hey.
I watch this regularly, but this rewatch was slightly different. I was sober. You see, Transformers is one of those films I often put on when I'm back in from a night's drinking. I stumble in, make a crisp sandwich, and jump through the film almost song by song. Sometimes I sing along. In fact, the soundtrack is very much like the film. If you have the connection, it is the punch-in-the-air awesome soundtrack. If Dare comes on in the car and I'm no longer driving a people carrier around Falkirk, I'm racing like a transforming sports car through a mountain pass. Watching sober, and with my critical glasses on, I can guess where the criticism will come from. For a start, not only it is a toy advert, it is a pretty brutal one at that. Oh yeah, they have a new toy range. Come and see it in action. And just in case you still want to play with Optimus Prime, Prowl, Starscream or Megatron, we're killing them all. Not sidelining, not knocking out, brutally murdering the old toys. Wheeljack is killed off.
Yep.
Wheeljack is killed off screen, goddammit. Worse, I remember Ultra Magnus being touted in the toy ads as the new leader of the Autobots.
Yep.
How annoyed you must be to find that, in fact, he is the leader for about 40 minutes max. The plot is very slight. They pretty much lurch from set piece to set piece with very little room to breathe. The voice acting is actually pretty solid, even with a fairly insubstantial script, and the animation is pretty good for the time. The Prime Megatron fight scene is actually quite well done. In fact, the touch scene where Prime arrives is a good solid few minutes of film. They use the transforming nature of the robots pretty well, and an Autobot is just as likely to run you over as punch you in the head. It is a real punch-in-the-air moment. At least Prime gets a good send-off, unlike, say, Ironhide or Ratchet. So, on paper, this isn't great. But you know what? I love it. It has a touch. It has the power. Yeah! Sing along in the bunker, guys?
No.
Keep up the good work, Murray, the Pie Man Christian.
I can see you all the way down there. Well, thank you very much for that, Murray. I think everything he said there was actually extremely valid and probably should be held up as the perfect retort to all of this, because it is that whole thing of if you weren't there and you weren't invested in it, you're never going to get it, and it's not going to be for you, which is fine. And we've had this conversation with everything from Jar Jar Binks to fucking RoboCop. I mean, there is a version which you saw at the right time of everything, and as he rightly says, you see stuff and then you suddenly go, actually, that's a bit rubbish, but it presses my buttons, yes, and that I completely get and completely empathise with. And Martin here has been listening to us rag on one of his childhood favourites for the last hour and 40. I mean, it's like, you're doing the same. Everyone's caught at the right time. I mean, the Goonies one is a perfect example. I mean, I took against the Goonies quite strongly when I first saw it, and then seeing it again with with that in the back of my mind, seeing it again when we did it for this, it was just like, fuck you, Goonies, properly fuck you. So yeah, I understand entirely. But anyway, yeah, enjoy the time down in the bunker, though. I'm not letting you out. But thank you very much, Murray. It's good feedback, sir. Right. Okay. So, Elton.
Yep.
Over to you, sir.
We have Gareth the Proton Thomas.
Now, he's always positive, so I think we know where this could be going.
Right. Well, his subject is Arise Protonimus.
Okay.
Does that give you a hint?
Yep.
Dear gents of the Blackdog, I trust you and the Blackdog family are well. This is my first feedback in a while, so apologies for that, but it doesn't mean I haven't been listening in. Before I get into the film, I went to the secret cinema last week, although it was Moulin Rouge, not my choice, but it was brilliant and I totally recommend it. On to the film. I feel it's only fair I should give you some background first. I'm a massive Transformers fan, and it was the best thing I'd ever seen. Best thing ever when I was growing up. I used to get so annoyed when they would only show 4 minutes a day on TVAM or Whack-A-Day. I first saw this film age 7 when I went to the cinema for Kieran Ash's birthday party. Happy birthday, Kieran Ash!
Yes.
To celebrate his 20th anniversary, they played it at certain cinemas in 2006. So I went again. Can you tell where this is going to go?
Mm-hmm.
I love this film.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a massive nostalgia thing for me, and I know it has its faults for the non-Transformers fans. It's probably a pile of shit. Having grown up with all the characters, it was a massive thing when Optimus Prime died. Spoiler alert. And they ended up bringing him back in the series as it was a massive fuck-up. The 80s soft rock soundtrack isn't everyone's cup of tea. But again, I love it. And bought the special release on vinyl last year. Oh, dear. The actors involved do a great job, with Orson Welles and Leonard Nimoy continuing to work in the Transformers world. Although Michael Bay has a lot to answer for. I still get goosebumps when The Touch starts playing and Optimus Prime and Megatron fight. One shall stand and one shall fall. I think everyone who grew up with this will love it. I certainly do. These specs are well and truly rose-tinted and haven't budged an inch. Thanks, chaps. Gareth the Proton Thomas. The Matrix will light your darkest hour.
I'm starting to get the sneaking suspicion that what actually might be happening is we might be hiding in the bunker for our own safety.
It's looking that way at the moment.
It's more of a protective bunker than an isolating one. Yeah.
Keep everyone out.
Yeah, exactly. Not us in. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Gareth. Just keep applying the cream, and maybe they'll come off. Those goggles. But anyway, no, I doubt it. Anyway, thank you very much for your feedback, sir. And let's move on. So, Martin, over to you, sir.
Right, I have an email from Phil Bellamy.
Okay.
Subject line: such heroic nonsense.
Oh dear. Go on.
Sorry, I need
No.
Strepsil.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Hello, Blackdog. Ultra Magnus. A cursory evaluation of Decepticon capability indicates a distinct tactical deficiency. I was born in 1980, so I got fully swept up in the Transformers craze. The original cartoon was, to a 6-year-old me, the single greatest thing I'd ever seen. So when the movie was released, it was more than just a film. To my younger self, this was a huge event. I remember my first watching on a VHS with my brother. I could literally talk all day about how much this animation means to me and how much love I have for this, but for the sake of time, I'll stick to the first half. In the first act alone, the film gave us main characters Springer and Ratchet dying by literally being shot repeatedly by Starscream holding Megatron in gun form. The awesome Hot Rod making his appearance and not only being seriously cool, but running over Insecticon while jumping a bridge. Starscream shooting his foot off. Soundwave's Tape Disciples, going head-to-head with Blaster's ones. The Amazing Devastator forming and going on a rampage to only be met by the fucking Dinobot. Then it's topped off with Optimus Prime rolling in and fucking shit up, then going hand-to-hand with Megatron, literally fighting to the death as any great leader should do. And this is just the opening act. It was like watching a basic Batman film, but having every Marvel/DC character ever turn up. To a young me, this was, and still in many ways is, the greatest thing I had ever seen. It was my most watched VHS in our collection, and I'm not afraid to admit, as a 36-year-old adult, I have it on the very iPhone I'm typing on, as no day is so bad it can't be made better by watching a quick bit of Galvatron shooting down Starscream's coronation. Greatest animated film ever. Love ya, Phil Bellamy.
Thank you very much for that, Phil. Yeah, I think we're definitely back to those rose tinted specs again. Wow. Yeah, bloody hell. I genuinely feel like my parents after I started talking about Star Wars. I do. This is starting to get slightly creepy, because to me, everything that is in this film does not relate to... If I was to listen to these feedbacks, having not seen the film, I would be so up for watching this, and I would be so disappointed by the fucking result. But, wow.
It's like the Elvis effect, isn't it? People either rally for it or against it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, okay. I mean, it's obviously there. I mean, what Murray said, what Jack said, what Phil said, it's all the same thing. It's all about that nostalgia thing. It's what Martin said, you've got the nostalgia, it's right there, and that's what carries you through. I mean, but wow. I mean, seriously. I mean, I knew when we first did Blackdog, I knew nostalgia would carry us through or fall apart on certain films. But nothing like this. I mean, this is, not being disrespectful to anyone, but from my perspective, having really not engaged with this film at all on any level, it almost seems like delusion. It does.
I get it, though. That's the thing.
No, I do get it. I do get it.
Because if we did the G.I. Joe animated movie next week, which we're not.
Thank God.
But if we did, I have a distinct feeling that it would just be me enjoying it.
See, now, that would be a movie... I mean, I've never seen the G.I. Joe one, so I don't have any nostalgia for that at all. So I don't know how I would feel about it. But therefore, it is the same... It'd be the same animation style as I was used to growing up in the 80s. I mean, I'm guessing it doesn't have a soft rock soundtrack.
It doesn't have the soft rock soundtrack, and it does have better animation than this film.
But I don't know whether... So, I mean, I wouldn't have any nostalgia for that, so I don't know whether that would carry me through, but yet there would still be something intrinsically 80s about it and something I would recognise as familiar from all the cartoons I watched growing up.
Yeah. But no one will have any rose-tinted specs on this, and so... I just feel it'd just be me against the world on that one.
I wonder if there's a lot better feeling for it now in wake of the Michael Bay movies, and people have gone back to this as being the one good one.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Alien 3 effect, isn't it? It's that moment of kind of seeing other stuff that's come out in later episode, later issues or later, shall we say, later versions, and then going, well, actually, maybe that thing that we thought was shit actually isn't as shit as we thought, because we can see here it gets a lot shitter. Or this person went on to do something really famous, so now we've got to reevaluate what came out the first time. Pardon me. I don't know. I mean, but clearly, if you weren't of the age to watch this film, then, in the right age, you were never going to like this. And I don't know.
Well, the thing is, even then, though, considering how it performed at the time, even if you were the right age and liked the toys, it didn't land for a lot of people because it didn't make its money back.
I'm quite surprised at that. Actually, I thought it was quite thought it was quite well received at the time. But obviously, I didn't really know much about box office takings at age 7.
Yeah, well, strange you're not into the sort of financial aspects of Hollywood and its studio machinations. But when you were 8, but well, you never know. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to be continually surprised by the feedback, but yeah, the fact that Fred's probably the only person who's come out in our side so far, sort of basically saying this was shit and I have no engagement with Transformers whatsoever. I think that kind of sort of sums it up, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on. We got to move on. We have to move on. Thank you very much. Who was that? That was Gareth, and then it was Phil Bellamy. Sorry, thank you. Thank you,
Phil Bellamy.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. So let's move on to my second piece of feedback, and this is from a first-time feedbacker, Michael Moody. So, again, pulling people out of the woodwork for this one. So, welcome, Michael. And he writes, "Good evening, all. This is my first feedback to the Blackdog, but I really wanted to share my thoughts on this one. Transformers was, without a doubt, my favourite thing from my childhood. I loved the toys, the comics, watching the cartoon on Whack-A-Day, there you go, with each 20-minute episode split into 5 segments over the week. That sucked, though. So, as you can imagine, I was super excited to see this at the cinema, and I loved it. Watching it again some 30-odd years later, do I feel the same? Well, yeah, I do. I still love it, though I can see the cracks in it now, and there are some things that do wind me up. I'll go over some of the good and the bad points as I see them. Let's get this out of the way first. Yes, the cartoon and the movie were essentially created to sell toys, as was the case for so many cartoons in the 80s. But in defence of the companies that made some of the great and entertaining TV, it's a shame, though, that it was in this movie they felt the need to brutally kill off so many existing characters to make way for new ones, and of course the toys. I believe that even the writer had expressed regrets at this, and apparently the death of Optimus Prime went down so badly in the States that the UK theatrical release had included a line at the end saying that he would return. However, with that out of the way, let's talk about the film. To begin with, the animation. The first time I saw this at the cinema, it blew me away. The opening scene where Unicron first appears and devours the planet, was so amazing compared to the original series. And though I still enjoy watching those with my son, the animated errors are there and atrocious. However, there are a number of inconsistencies in there, such as some of the scenes where Optimus Prime is fighting Megatron that look somewhat unfinished and lacking in detail compared to the rest. There is, however, one scene that has bothered me since all the way back in the days of watching it on VHS, and that is the scene where the Autobot city, where Devastator is smacked the Dinobot sludge on the back, causing his eyes to pop out of his head in Looney Tunes fashion. It looks so out of place, and it annoys me every time I see it. I also point out the scene where Unicron creates Cyclonus and his armada, and you can see the two of them only to never see another one again. I believe that there's originally going to be lots of them in the film, but the concept was changed at the last minute, but not before this scene was animated, hence the rogue extra Cyclonus. Moving on to the characters, the really annoying two are of course Daniel and Wheelie, but at least they are more peripheral characters and don't get in the way much, and Wheelie is a million times better than the leg-humping RC car from Michael Bay version. The problem, though, is with introducing so many new characters is that they don't get much time to develop. The greatest example of this was Ultra Magnus. I was sold on the hype of this Transformer as a kid, with him being marketed as the new leader, but he really didn't do much other than hold the Matrix for a short while and be totally ineffectual. So while I do acknowledge there are a number of faults with this, and I'm sure there are many who will hate it, I still love it. How can you not when Optimus Prime's arrival on Earth with the quotable line, "Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost." His transformation that takes its time, while the first few bars of Stan Bush's The Touch start to play. He proceeds to kick ass in a way that makes me scream, "Have you even seen this, Michael Bay?" This is Optimus Prime, not some Fraser Crane murdering, monologuing arsehole. And it has fight scenes where you can see what's happening and who is who. Yes, I love this film for all its faults, and my 6-year-old loves it too. And that's it from me, and good night, Michael Moody. Well, thank you very much for that, Michael. Again, there you are. The nostalgia is there, thick and fast. Yeah, I mean, good feedback. And do you know what? It's interesting. A lot of these feedbacks are also coming back with, I can see the problems, but I don't care. It seems to boil down to that a lot of the time now. Not just Michael's, but just all of them. It's like, it's not the Michael Bay movies, and it's not great. But you know what? I loved it when I was a kid, and I still love it. And that you have to sort of take your hat off and at least nod and say, well done. Yeah, absolutely fine. But not for me.
I wonder as well if it's because obviously a lot of people haven't seen this since childhood, so I wonder if it's a great big wallow in nostalgia rather than if you perhaps watched it regularly, it might not be so much.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I say, I think Jack hit it on the head at the beginning where he sort of said, this thing comes in at like midway between season 2 and 3, and if you haven't watched either of the previous 2 seasons, you're not going to know what the fuck's going on half the time. And sure enough, having not committed all the episodes to memory at all in the intervening 35 years, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I literally was like, oh, when did Ultra Magnus come into this? Oh, where's that one that sounded like David Warner? He's not there at all. Okay, right, fine. We're in the year 2005. Where were we set before? And by the time I've figured out those questions, like, we're already on to Eric Idle as 400 characters all saying, hey, nonny, nonny, big bingly bong bomb. It's like, duh, really? Okay. Anyway, so, yeah. Never mind. Right, well, thank you very much for that, Michael, and, maybe speak to you again soon with next feedback. But, Darren, who do we have next?
We have Glenn Kimberley. So, Glenn writes, good evening, all. So, just watched Transformers, the movie. Well, that was certainly a nostalgic rush for the 80s, for better and worse. To be honest, while I liked Transformers toys and TV shows at the time, I was never hugely into it. So I never went to see the big screen version. So I never got the full impact of seeing Optimus Prime die within the first 20 minutes of the movie. You didn't see that happen much in those days, especially in kids' movies. Mind you, there was an awful lot of robot death throughout this movie. The film has many flaws. To start with, it's a big, confusing mess of a story where if you haven't been keeping up with the lore of the past years of the TV show, you're thrown into the middle of a story where you have no idea of what's going on. Did I pass out during the film and miss the explanation of where the hell Unicron came from and why he was destroying everything in his path? The junk bots. What was that? It didn't really go anywhere, and Eric Idle's voice was extremely annoying. The planet with the judges and the Sharkticons. What the hell was that all about? All in all, it was just a mess, with an incredible voice cast. God knows what they had to pay to get Orson Welles to be in this. At least the soundtrack was cheesy 80s rock nonsense, with added Weird Al thrown in. Until next time, remember, you got the touch. Take care, guys. Glenn, the wooden legs are real. Oh, sorry. The wooden with wooden legs and real feet. My apologies. I screwed that one right up.
No, it's fine.
There you go. Boom, boom.
Right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that, Glenn. Yeah, I mean, again, same thing, isn't it? It's like, if you haven't got the background in the history, you got nothing to hang this off of.
Well, see, I was thinking about this. I mean, I think I've seen this a lot more than I watched the original cartoon, and I'm still able to pick it up.
But is that because you've watched it so many times? I mean, I've watched Blade Runner countless times now, but I remember watching it the first time and going, what the fuck is going on? And, if you watch something enough times, you can fill those blanks in almost unconsciously.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm wondering. I'm trying to think about because I didn't really know any of the new characters at the time. I don't remember it being confused as being like, oh, who's he, who's he? But then when you're a kid, you kind of just go with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to, coming from a completely new perspective, trying to guess who everyone is and how they all work out.
Well, it's like, for me, it's kind of, there's the other things from this area I don't have a connection with at all because I was too old for them. Just like, He-Man or Thundercats cartoons. But I've seen He-Man and Thundercats cartoons, and I can follow the storylines, and I can see why people like them, and they tell a story. Whereas the failing of Transformers, the movie, is it doesn't tell a story, not properly.
Yeah.
It does. It's not good storytelling. You know what I mean? There's too many characters. There's too much happening, and there's too much that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's why because I've watched things that other people are nostalgic for, and I can see why, and I can get on board with it, and a good film should throw you a bone. I mean, it's something we've said before on the Blackdog.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to go and do some homework just to find out what the story should be telling you, or who the characters are, what their motivation is, and
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're not talking War and Peace here. It's just fucking robots having an archie-barchie, but it's the fact is it just whips through so much, and all the characters are pretty much interchangeable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't know who they are, it's kind of, so what? Optimus Prime's died. Everyone else has died.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo. What?
And funny enough, when you think about it, in every Transformers movie, the Bay ones especially, Optimus Prime fucking dies. It's probably about it is like the oh my god they killed Kenny in science fiction. It's oh my god they killed Optimus again. I mean, show me a Transformers movie where he doesn't die. And that's that. Right, okay, fine. So thank you very much for that, Glenn.
Can I just say,
yep.
Was this also one of the first animated movies to use celebrity voices?
Oh.
So I think Watership Down did.
Yes.
Didn't it, back in the 70s?
Yeah.
So I remember Jim saying about that on his tribute to John Hurt, but I can't think of many around this time that did.
Hold on. To Google. Movies. Famously voiced animated movies. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I when was the Bakshi Lord of the Rings? When was that?
That's what,
78?
70, yeah, it was around then. It was pretty much almost coterminous with Lord of the Rings.
Because that was was it John Rhys Davies and also John Hurt, obviously.
Yeah, it was 78. I mean, I know there's some animated shorts done in the 70s that got some big names to do voice work. But it wasn't really something so like Disney, who were the big hitter for animation, really went in for overly. And certainly TV cartoons didn't have the clout or the money to hire anyone of any note. They had, the same, roster of kind of, famous Voight-Arts, your Casey Kasems and what have you, who did the voices for nearly everything, your Mel Blancs.
Yeah. Well, I'm just a quick cursory glance over IMDb. You had Rod Taylor, AKA, from the Time Machine and what have you, back in the 50s and the 60s. He was Pongo in 101 Dalmatians. There you go. Don't know if that counts. Probably not. But anyway, okay. Well, yeah, maybe we'll have to dig up some info. Right. Well, thank you again, Glenn. And I think we need to move on to our next bit of feedback. And who is that, Jim?
It is Gary, Mr. Spock Madden.
Of the good ship Blackdog. Go for it. And what does he have to say from the science department?
Well, his missive is entitled Transformers, Old Shit in Disguise.
Okay.
Anyhow, Gary writes, greetings.
Wonder which way this is going.
You might be in for a surprise. Who knows? It'll be feedback in disguise. Anyhow, Gary writes, greetings, various and sundry Black Doggerel and the robotic Mr. Decepticowl.
Nice.
Well, it's been a tough 3 weeks with Netflix and circumstance-enforced exile, but I've returned, and it's good to be back among the generally disgruntled crew of the USS Blackdog again. I come to you today with good news too. I have landed a promotion, which, in an ironic twist, mean I'll have a little more time to watch movies and feedback. Regardless, I plan on using some of that time to fill Mr. Wolf's underwear withdrawal with triples. It's the least I can do for the wrinkle four-headed bastard. Anyhow, enough of this frivolity. It's time to dig into the pile of scrap metal that is the Transformers the movie. The Transformers was one of those cartoons that fell into the donut black hole between youth and adulthood for me. I was young enough when the television series debuted in 1984 to remember it being all the rage, but old enough not to give a fuck. Actually, I was a high four sophomore, so the only thing I was thinking about was giving a fuck. But we digress. The closest I came to have any link with this film even existing was when I heard John Moschita's voice and immediately recognised him as the fast-talking guy from those FedEx commercials, which I will have plagued the Black Dog Facebook page with by now. Anyhow, I guess what I'm saying is there's zero chance I'll rant about how this film did or didn't live up to the memories of my youth or the continuity of the Transformers universe. For me, its biggest sin was just being dull, which is arguably the biggest sin any movie can commit. All that said, there are a couple of things I thought worth bringing up. Firstly, I couldn't believe the amount of voice talent this little turd of a film drew in. I mean, Scatman Carruthers, who I remember from the Globetrotters cartoon of my youth, Eric Idle, Leonard Nimoy, Robert Stack, even freaking Orson. They'll sell no wine before it's time. Wells. This thing is like a fucking 60s Batman episode when it comes to guest star pull. It's even got a damn hit Sammy Hagar song in the soundtrack. What the actual fuck? The second point requires a little more disclosure. You see, my wife is totally and absolutely head over heels in love with the robotic bastards. We have seen every Transformers movie, some of them more than once.
Ooh.
And when for the trailer for Transformers The Last Night came out, she went around the house quoting it for days.
Ooh.
When she saw the rumours of a Bumblebee spin-off movie, it took 3 days for her to come down off the ceiling. So when I saw this one on the docket, I figured it was a shoo-in and she'd love it. I got a print, we popped the DVD in for a Friday night viewing, and in less than 5 minutes, she declared it utterly stupid. But that's not worth mentioning. What's worth mentioning is a little observation that was really interesting. In this 1989 cartoon, there is a lady Transformer and one who didn't seem to be there just to be saved, while none of the modern films can come close to boasting anything similar. I mean, this cartoon comes from the decade that gave us Weird Science with its homebrew sex slave. Yet this cartoon, we've got RC, who, though she doesn't play a major role, at least appears to be a version of animated equality. Not one of the modern films in the more enlightened 21st century has given us anything like this. Instead, we see a whole lot of me man, me hero, you woman, you victim, Cro-Magnon think and upskirt shots on characters who are supposedly teens.
Oh, God.
Maybe I'm overthinking this. I mean, there was a bit of beer involved, but it's still damn odd if you think about it. Anyhow, I guess that's about it. No sense on dwelling on this car wreck, no matter what it transforms into. Live long and just say no to robots in disguise or otherwise.
Okay, well, thank you very much there, sir. Thank you from the science department. Yeah, so your wife loves the Bay movies. Right, cool.
I remember at the time, RC, I think it was quite a big thing to have. This was going to be the first female Transformer ever featured. I remember that was, I think, one of the big selling points of the film. Though when she transforms, she does look a bit like Penelope Pitstop's car.
Yeah, and they still can't help themselves from changing it into a pink and white thing.
Yeah.
I suppose equality was one small step kind of affair in that in that era, and she does end up sort of fainting, doesn't she, when Devastator throws a big sort of piece of metal through a wall?
Yeah, but a lot of other robots falling around as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Or something. I don't know.
Fuck it. Fight you with my keys in my hand.
Throwing tinfoil around as well.
That's it. Just let Mr. Owl off on it. Just let him loose. Let him. Anyway, yeah. Well, thank you very much for that, Gary. And do send us a report when you go to see Transformers last night, because I tell you what, I'm not fucking seeing it. Right, okay, so moving on. Elton, who do you have next?
Okay, I have the fiendish Dr. Will.
And what does Will have to say about this film?
Right, his subject is eliminate even the most stubborn stains.
Oh dear.
Right, here we go. What the fuck did I just watch? I almost had a Connery.
A Connery? Yes. Oh, yes. I suddenly, 1 minute I was sitting there, and next minute...
my heart.
Coronary.
Coronary. I think you should have just... I think you should have belted through it. Don't...
In the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just from the fucking noise of it all. Bloody hell, that music was annoying. It was so dominating as well as terrible. And the voices were horribly grating. It felt like I was pushing my ears through a blender.
Right.
It was just too fast, too bright, too loud. The plot and any attempt at a story structure was non-existent. I could sort of understand if it was a series of individual cartoons, but you can't use the same technique for a feature-length film. Who's going to pay attention for that long anyway? Fuck this film. Fuck it in the ear until it shuts the fuck up. Fiendish Dr. Will. P.S. Who the fuck is Galvatron anyway?
What the fuck's a Galvatron? Nice. Thank you, Will. You're welcome in the bunker with us as we hide from the horde.
Indeed.
Nice.
And I hope your Connery clears up very soon.
Yeah, 1 minute you were there, too much stress, and then suddenly it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's starring.
Oh shit. I think the Red October's actually a transformer.
It's a fucking big one.
That's Battleship, isn't it?
Take him to the hospital on deck 9. Yes.
Size of a fucking Death Star. Fucking popular at supermarkets and holiday resorts and airports.
I'm going to go down past Centre Park on deck 15 using
its space program.
Gonna take that fucking transforming train down to the fucking nose. It's gonna take me 3/4 of an hour.
Yes.
Oh dear.
I heard Ed Sheeran was thinking of doing a 6-month tour. Just on that one Autobot.
Nice. Right. Let's move on. The wheels are coming off. Right, okay. Thank you very much for that, Will. Martin, who do you have next?
Join me as I forget how to read. This is from Doreen Kelly.
Keldor the Mighty. And what does she have to say?
Subject line, Transformers, more than meets the eyes. Transformers, robots in disguise.
Ooh.
Hello, everyone. Well, I was amazed to find that Anthony and I own the Blu-ray, no less, of this. How this got past me is anyone's guess. Anyway, this was okay. Yes, it might be a huge toy advert, but it has nothing on the Lego movie. I felt it was definitely ripping off Star Wars, and Anthony says it has Superman credits. I think the design of the Transformers were very Art Deco. RC has real rose-tinted glosses. Megatron's transformation into Galvatron was pretty nice. Do any of these spaceships in this qualify for Space Doc Jury? Sorry if you've already done any of them. I do enjoy listening, but I don't have my own version of the spreadsheet. Obviously, when I say spaceships, I don't mean the Transformers themselves, the ships that they get into and pilot. I felt quite sorry for Grimlock and the other Dinobots. Did any of the Autobots think of just asking them to get into the ship? On the junk planet, where the Eric Idle robot said something like, "Offer expires while you wait. Operators are standing by," I remembered Mr. Jim's Tesco so-called Express story from last week. And it has a very 80s soundtrack. The Matrix opens like a toddler's shape saucer ball. Bye for now. Keldor, Doreen in disguise.
Ah, lovely. Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Keldor.
I've decided during the assault on the Autobot ship, I did think of Space Dock and the whole thing about do the Transformers count as weapons and throwing Jeff from accounts at the door.
Yeah, for Darren, for that, just because I know you don't listen, but we have this thing where you have to work out whether or not fightercraft work as adding to your ship's power.
Fightercraft, okay.
Yeah. And so in a desperate bid to make the Autobot arc have a little bit more power, Pete turned around and said, do the Autobots turning into fighters count as defensive craft? And I'm like, well, no, because at that point you're literally throwing Jeff from accounts out the window. And like literally, what do you turn into? I turn into a photocopier. Fuck it, great. Throw him out. Chucking him after the chasing Decepticon vehicles. He's like, yeah, just fucking leave him. We don't care. All he does is staple. He turns into a stapler. Throw him out. So yeah, that's where Jeff from accounts came from. So yeah, to answer your question, Doreen, they would qualify. However, it does mean we have to watch the film again, and that ain't happening. So yeah, unless Pete brings them up, that stupid corkscrew ship, and he won't because I'll stick him with pins if he does. Yeah, they do qualify, and we have done the arc, which was from the first season.
I'm sure the Transformers Wiki is very comprehensive and it will give you a lot of help.
The Transformers Wiki,
even if it does change.
I was going to say it changes it's like watching like streams of code from the Matrix. Watching the Transformers Wiki, it literally is updating in front of your eyes as people arguing between sort of updates. Anyway, doesn't matter. Thank you very much again, Doreen. Thank you for your feedback. And that's the end of the written feedback section. Overall, I think the people who loved it really loved it, and the ones who didn't don't understand it at all, pretty much like us. So let's move on to the MP3 feedback. Well, the first one is from the Mr. Belly Stapler, Michael Cornett. Who's sent in this piece of feedback.
Good evening, Black Doggers. Good evening to Lee, Darren, Jim, and Elton. This is Mike Cornett, the Belly Stapler. After last week's little debacle, I changed my password, then started getting all these emails from Phobos, one full of apologies from Voldar, actually apologizing, and a bunch from the pacifist fungus beings. They have no name, they're just called pacifist fungus beings. But anyway, they were begging me to let Voldar join in on my feedbacks, basically, because they feel that interacting with people and would be good for his rehabilitation. I mean, they think it's really important for him to try to make friends and be a good person. So anyway, he's going to be joining me every now and then. So anyway, want to say hello to the people, Voldar?
Hello, Earthlings.
Okay, well, that's there's Voldar. Anyway, the Transformers.
What a shitty movie.
Okay, yes, Voldar. We'll talk about that. When I was in college, I had a bunch of friends who were really into the Transformers TV show. People in their fucking 20s watching this like it was a soap opera and getting so wrapped up in the characters and the storylines and stuff like that. I couldn't get it. I looked at them like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? But it was really weird. But anyway, I joined them once when they got their hands on the this movie, and I sat there and they were just like so wrapped up in this. They think this is the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm sitting there just thinking it's the most idiotic thing ever.
It was idiotic.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. We agree there. I really laughed myself sick at the beginning when that Unicron or Umicron or Uma Thurman or whatever, that thing that was a Cross-13 Galactus and the Death Star was destroying that planet. And you heard these like cartoony chomp sounds every time it ate a piece. And it was like, come on, really? And all this, there was like some ray guns that made these cartoon thunk sounds, and it just didn't sound right. I mean, really poor sound design in this movie. The story was nonsense. There's a lot here that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Optimus Prime gets badly wounded and dies, hooked up to all these monitors. And I'm sitting there thinking, he's a fucking robot. Fix him. You know, like you fix other robots in this movie. There's a couple of scenes where they fix people. It's like, come on. I'll fix him, but they don't. And there's a scene toward the end where you have two robots fighting and one tries to strangle another. They're robots. You don't strangle robots.
No, you don't. Although sometimes I've tried.
Okay, Voldar, we'll talk about that later. And all the goofy names, Starscream, you know, Asswipe, you know, I don't know. It's stupid. That horrible 80s music that has not aged at all. The fact that they get Orson Welles to do the voice of Unicunt or whatever, and there's so much reverb that you just can't tell it's anyone. It's bad. You know, oh, and Eric Idle, you know, is one of the junk bots, and they join into the fray. You know, they blast off to join in the battle, and then you never hear from them again. They just disappear from the narrative entirely. It was really bad. You know, and you can tell that this was meant to be shown on TV. There's bits where you can see where the commercial breaks are. You know, but then again, I mean, this was all just one big giant toy commercial.
What?
Yeah. Voldar, didn't I tell you? The Transformers were toys. And the TV show and this movie were all basically built and designed to sell more toys.
This was all about toys? Bah! This is even worse than I thought it was.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is a really bad movie, and it was a really dumb show, and I really disliked the fact that we had a TV shows that were all about selling toys.
You Earthlings!
Yeah, I know. I get it. I agree with you on that one, okay?
You agree with me?
Yeah, I think having toy commercials disguised as entertainment is a terrible thing.
I like you.
Gee, thanks. Anyway. So, yeah, this was a shitty movie. And I was really glad to kind of not ever have to watch it again. I hate the Transformers. I really think the Transformers are stupid. But that's just me. Anyway, not much else to report. Work's going well. Plugging away at shit. Probably be talking to this big green lunkhead. I say that affectionately, Voldar. Okay? Don't get upset. Some more, and then maybe we can get him to calm down a little bit more and maybe give some more feedback.
I would like that very much, thank you. I do want to make friends.
That's good, Voldar. That's really good. You know, his therapist keeps emailing me.
My therapist shouldn't be talking to you.
Sorry, that's the arrangement we have. Plus, they're helping pay my bills. Okay?
All right.
Anyway, this is my Cornet.
And Voldar.
Signing off. See you later. Mwah. Bye.
Hey, can I do that too? Mwah. Bye.
And that was strange.
You said it. Well, there you go. Thank you very much for that, sir. And thank you, Voldar. Nice to have a Martian dictator and former captor of Santa Claus as a feedbacker, I think. Yeah. Well, there you go. Another one for the I don't understand Transformers. It's loud, it's noisy, it's stupid, it makes no sense. crowd. So thank you very much for that, sir. And obviously, all dictatorial Martians also feel much the same. So that's good. So strike 2 for us, I think, for that one. And if you want to hear more from Michael, you can go over to his blog, which you can find at dustandcorruption.blogspot.com. Yeah, not really much lot to add to that. Really, he's fairly comprehensive about his dislike of the film, and I think we've kind of covered pretty much the same ground. So thank you very much for that, sir. It's good, very good indeed, and and a good psychological breakthrough as well for, like I say, dictatorial Martians. Right, so let's move on to a last piece of feedback, which is Drew and Tracy, and let's hear what they thought about Transformers the movie.
So,
yes, so indeed.
That was Transformers the movie, or as it's titled, The Transformers the movie.
Yeah, it was on the version we watched, yes.
Okay then, so what did you think of that?
First of all, I'd say I was heavily into Transformers. That was my age group.
Yeah.
When the toys come out, I remember being like, might have been last year of junior school, and then I really got into the Marvel comics. And to be honest, the Marvel comics were excellent. It was really good. Completely different timeline to the American ones. I was just so much into Transformers, knew everything about all of it. Yeah. So when this film came out, I remember I went to the cinema, saw it, and then got the DVD and had all the animated series and that lot. But to be honest, I've not watched any Transformers or read a Transformers comic in like about 25 years.
But can we just go back? You would never have had a DVD. It would have been like VHS or Betamax. Come on now, show your age.
So I was really like, oh, okay, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
What did I think of it? I thought that...
Did you remember it?
Yeah, I could remember it, the whole lot of it. Yeah, definitely. Okay. I was surprised at how basic it looks, and I mean it is for kids, but I just felt it's very simplistic, and like everything just moves on very quick. It doesn't pause. It's just continually like one thing after another. Yeah. Action wise, it just doesn't let up, does it?
No.
I thought it was lovely and nostalgic to watch, but I don't think it's very good.
For me, this was like an hour too long. Honestly, it could have been like 20 minutes. You could have got all you needed to do
maybe.
in it. But you were right. It would kind of do one bit of like story, and then it moved on before I'd even like turned around. And I said to you a few times, "What the fuck is going on?" And even you were like, "I'm not quite sure."
No, I knew what was going on. I think like the music, it's got a pumping kind of like 80s metal soundtrack, and it's. The storyline's equivalent of the soundtrack because it's just like it never lets up. It's like at 90 miles an hour, isn't it? And I can understand, like if you've not seen it before, you probably need to watch it a few times to get what's going on.
No, you don't need to watch this more than once. Ever.
Well, what I mean is because I've seen it loads of times in the past, I could understand it, but I could understand the first time just going like, what's going on?
So yeah, they threw a lot of money into this. You could tell this was made of the time when Transformers were absolutely humongous because the amount of people they've got voicing these characters. And you're right, this is a complete 80s rock soundtrack,
thing,
isn't it? They threw a lot of money at this.
Yeah.
But really, I was just like,
yeah,
it makes sense.
I really don't think it holds up.
No, and they set this in 2005.
Yes, well, I got a feeling was this 85, so it would have been 30 years in the future or something like that.
Flipping Ada.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, 20 years in the future. It's now 30 years, isn't it?
Yeah, well, 2015 would have been 30 years.
Yeah.
So hot rod fishing. I did say to you at the time, how is he so close to water and he's not rusting?
They don't rust. The Transformers
How do you know?
don't rust.
He's a car. He's made out of metal.
No, he's not.
It would rust.
It's
just a bit dull.
Yeah, talking about the voice actors, Eric Idle as Wreck-A-Gar, isn't it? The motorbike guy, and old Leonard Nimoy as the Galvatron.
And this is what I said to you. The guy who played Unicron, so it was Orson Welles.
Orson Welles, yeah.
He sounded like Jigsaw from the Saw movies. He really did. When he first started talking, I was a bit like, oh, there's going to be some evil doings about this. Not right. And why did it take Bumblebee so long to get in on the film?
You know what? Bumblebee hardly features in this at all, isn't he? He's such a massive character.
In 2 minutes or something. I was like, it was almost like 3/4 way through. I'm like, where is Bumblebee?
Yeah. So what did you think of it? Because for me, it was like nostalgia fest. Enjoyed watching it, but I don't think it's very good.
For me, I can see how this film would have been really big and popular in the mid-80s when Transformers were massive. I reckon, had I been into Transformers, I would have gone to pictures, but I'm older and wiser and I'm a girly, and this film was not for me. No, I was just like snoozing. I was off writing my shopping list and doing whatever. No.
Not great, but you know, hey,
so
well.
It's a bit nostalgic for you.
Yep, not great, but dated, and yeah, it's a shame.
It's alright.
Yep.
Only an hour. I can live with that.
Definitely.
Anyway, leave it there, yeah?
Okay.
Coolio. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you very much for that, guys. So, yeah, not an hour too long, apparently. Sounds about right. So there you go. Well, thank you very much for that, Drew. Thank you, Tracy. Nostalgia and contempt in one feedback.
Drew was saying about the Marvel comics.
Yeah.
So I was a big follower at the time. I always remember doing a sequel to it, Legacy of Unicron, which is image I dropped into the chat at the moment. I always remember this. Got a very fond memory of this splash page at the back of the issue, which just leads up just lots of slaves sort of building Unicron a new body.
Yeah. Didn't that also lead on to Death's Head? Death's Head, the Transformer-sized freelance peacekeeping agent.
I don't know. I think he may have already been about at that time,
because I remember him.
Don't think there's a link.
Because I remember him being in the Transformers universe, and then he also then turned up and was picked up by Sylvester McCoy's doctor, who ended up getting rid of him by dropping him on top of the Baxter building from the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of stuff in the Marvel universe.
He did indeed. So anyway, well, that's that interesting tangent down into Marvel spin-off territory. Leads us to the end of the cast. Thank you again, Drew. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you to everyone who sent in feedback this week, and thank you to all our listeners who are very patient with us not delivering last week. And that's that. That's Transformers. But before we get off and on our way, let's tell you what we've got next week. Now, I'm hoping Darren's going to be awake at this point because it is...
I am still awake.
Brilliant. Okay, because I was going to say, because it is 1:20 in the morning at this point.
It is, yes.
And next... Yeah, I know. We're all... Podcast, yay. This is the glamorous...
Grimlock needs sleep.
Yeah. Starscream. I'm pressing my button. Stop looking at me. Basically, the next film I have never seen. Not once, not ever. But it got suggested by Mr. Barnard. So I tell you what, considering he suggested it, I suggest he tells us what it is. Yeah.
The film is called After Hours. And basically it is about... it's about a man who goes on a date that goes from bad to worse. So it's just how his whole evening just degenerates down to possibly the worst night anybody could ever have. Ever.
Right, okay.
I was going to say, is this inspired by your recent long journey?
It goes a bit like that, except this is what happens in this to this guy is worst. Right. So I'll give you just to give you a little easy on how this film works or how much bad luck this guy has. When he starts off on the date, he goes to get his money out to give some money to the cab driver, and the window's open in the cab, and a gust of wind blows the money straight out the window.
Right. Okay.
And it starts like that.
And that's kind of
he gets dumped in a part of New York he's never been in before.
Right. Okay. Well,
and that's where it degenerates from there.
Okay, well, don't tell us too much because,
No.
like I say, I've not seen it before. Jim, have you seen this before?
I have years ago on TV, and I only have fuzzy memories of it.
Right. Okay. What about you, Elton?
No, never even heard of it.
Cool. Okay. So this is pretty much a mystery monocle for all but Darren. And for the sound of it, Martin. But yeah.
I've seen this before.
Yeah,
I saw it once. I think it was a good few years ago now. Although the final shot is always kind of sticks in the memory for some reason.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
Okay. No more said.
Okay.
Hush now. Hush
Yes.
now. Shh. Yeah. So okie dokie. Well, in which case we shall see next week what this film gives us. And if you would like to join in and would like to send in feedback, send it into feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Or leave us a message on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/groups/the Blackdog Podcast, or talk to me randomly, haphazardly, peering on Twitter, which is @Blackdog Podcast. Right, so before we go, it just leaves me to say thank you to Martin for being part of this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And gentlemen of the hostage, do you want to start touting your wares? We'll do Jim, sir.
Okay, you can hear me on my own podcast, Hypnagoria, where this week I'm paying tribute to the sadly recently passed away great artist Bernie Wrightson.
Oh,
and then this weekend, if all goes according to plan, I should be talking about the very first zombie movie ever, 1932's White Zombie, starring Bela Lugosi.
Nice. Okie dokie. And Elton.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right, man. You're almost there.
Nearly there, yeah. You can catch me, hopefully, fingers crossed, this week on Shonky Lab. I will be joined by Lee Harvey and another, maybe. I do not know. And we're going to be talking about iconic. It wasn't going to be vehicles. It's now going to be cars, and just from TV, etc. And you can catch that on shonkylab.com or all the other podcasts I do as well, which are on road2media.com.
Brilliant. And Martin, do you have anything you'd like to tout?
Nothing. The only other thing I do is I still write columns on geekplanetonline.com.
Okay, on Geek Planet Online. Brilliant. Okie dokie. Well, that's it then. Well, like I say, thank you to everyone. Thank you to my co-hosts here who have sat through to the bitter end on this thing. And thank you to everyone who obviously is listening as well, because you've sat through to the bitter end on this one. And, yes, do catch us next week for After Hours, which is going to be an interesting one because I don't think anyone's really seen it, apart from Darren and Martin. So, until next time, thank you again for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton. And thank you, Martin. And we'll see you all next week for After Hours. Until then, tatty bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Till all are one.
Oh, bollocks to it.